I got a vasectomy for my wife, but she still got pregnant.
Doctor's not very good at his job.
Ooh. So we spent 2 years together in college and got married the fall after we graduated. Spent 2 years exploring our relationship and finally got settled down and was ready to raise a family. She got off birth control and her libido took off. But it took 3 years for us to get pregnant, but we got a beautiful girl finally.
Congrats.
Congrats. By the way, this comes from Throwaway to Unsure, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So after a couple of months, my wife got back on birth control and had a hard time with it. Her doctor switched her meds several times, but she had bad side effects with each one. Birth control?
Sucks, man.
It's tough. That's tough. We talked about it and we're unsure if we wanted another child. And since it was easier for me to just get a vasectomy reversed later, if we decided to have more children, I had the operation.
Heck
He
yeah. Look
said,
at you. He
snip,
said,
snip.
I will sacrifice for you.
Ooh, we like that.
Like that.
We like that. That was 3 years ago. And after coming off birth control, my wife has felt a lot better and spicy sleep has been worry-free since we can no longer get pregnant. We actually have spicy sleep more now than when we were in college. But then, 3 weeks ago, my wife was late for her period, which isn't that unusual for her. Then I noticed her front airbags were a little tender. And she started what seemed like signs of morning sickness.
How was that the first thing you noticed?
OP, you dirty, dirty dog.
Dirty dog. Like, wouldn't she have noticed that?
Right?
How did you notice that before she did?
That's how thorough he's always on it.
Yeah, he's always doing his checks.
Always
like,
doing the
I
checks.
don't want you to get breast cancer. Very thorough.
I gotta make sure. I have to personally ensure. Now I know there have been cases of nature reversing vasectomies, so I went to the doctor and had my baby juice count checked, and the verdict was I'm still sterile.
Oh no.
But I didn't tell my wife.
Oh no.
Oh, is this the problem?
I thought it was gonna be like, oh, vasectomy didn't work. Cheating? No.
Yeah. Yes, Sophia.
No,
Yes.
No.
Accept it. Accept it right now.
That's such a bummer.
This is eternity of affair babies staring you in the face.
I really didn't even expect it. I'm bummed.
Right? My wife finally went to her doctor and confirmed that she was pregnant, so she had me go to the doctor to get tested. I didn't go right away because I was literally sick from the stress of the situation. I had all sorts of sick scenarios going through my head. In the end, I got retested and I took my daughter in and had a DNA test done. I got both test results back today and got violently ill after reading them. Yes, I am sterile, and no, my daughter's not mine.
No.
No.
Yep. When my wife got home, I showed her my test and she denied any wrongdoing and saying that there was a problem with the test. And I showed her the test from last week and she broke down crying. I finally got it out of her who she had slept with and that it only happened once and the wiener wrapper must have failed.
Okay, well, so it happened twice because you are pregnant again.
I made her tell me the story 3 times, and each time I asked her if that was the whole truth and if there was anything else that she needed to tell me because another lie would mean we were through. She said that that was the only time she had ever done anything like that before. I told her how much this hurt me and asked her how she could do this to our family and if it was worth it. I asked her if she wanted a divorce and she pleaded with me to forgive her and just put this behind us. I said I couldn't raise someone else's child and asked her if she'd be willing to terminate the pregnancy in order to stay together.
Whoa.
That is too far.
I don't think you can ask her to do that.
That is too far.
I think if you want to ask her to do that, divorce her.
Yeah. You don't have to raise the kid.
You absolutely don't have to raise the child. But like, don't ask her to. That's too far.
That is absolutely too far.
No.
So she cried the rest of the night, but when we went to bed, she said she would do whatever it took to save our marriage. Oh, God. So I never brought up the DNA test. I will contact a lawyer next week to see what my options are about if I have to pay child support on our first child. If she had come clean about the father of our first child, I could have swallowed my pride and tried to work to forgive her, but she thought she was in the clear and didn't need to confess to anything else. No telling what I'll never know. We have not just an update, but a lawyer update. A very legal update on the horizon.
Wait, did she say yes?
She said yes. But what's crazy is I think
literally he's still gonna divorce her.
I think what you said is true, where he was literally just testing her, which kind of makes it was already sick. That. It's even more sick and twisted of OP to do that.
I think it's so, like, she cheated on you twice.
Yes.
You're leaving her, and you're still asking her to do, like, yeah, she very much betrayed you.
Yeah.
And she's a cheater. But, like...
There's a line. That's disgusting.
You're leaving her. Just leave her.
Yeah.
I don't like this. Everyone sucks here.
Well, let's get into this lawyer update. So, Opie says, my lawyer is awesome. She had me bring in a bunch of paperwork, bank statements, and medical and DNA results, and had me tell her my story. Her assistant sat in with us and took notes while my lawyer went through my documents. After I finished, she asked a few questions and spelled out my options. I live in an at-fault state, which is good and bad. Good as in it gives us leverage, bad as in it takes much longer and is much more expensive. In the case of the first child, if my wife agrees to sign the papers, my liability for child support is an easy fix.
Yeah.
So there you go. If she doesn't agree, then a court-ordered DNA test and judgment from the court can remove me without my wife's consent, which I have to imagine. Well, I mean, I guess it maybe would get, it's possible, but
yeah,
I imagine it would go where he wouldn't have to pay child support. Either way, I will most likely not have to pay child support. One way is just more expensive than the other. Since my wife has a good job and earns close to what I do, she didn't think the judge would award her any alimony. And all of that, plus dividing up property and other things, can be negotiated before a judge gets involved. The bad news was due to the holidays. They couldn't have the papers ready before Christmas, but definitely would before the end of the year. She advised me to say nothing until my wife got served. My lawyer gave me a list of things to do before and after Christmas before they served my wife. One thing they did point out was since we were actively trying to have a baby, there was a possibility that my wife didn't know that the child wasn't mine. My wife has an appointment with her OB tomorrow.
No, but she does know because he told her.
She does know now, but I guess at the time.
Oh.
Like before he revealed that he knew she was cheating. So, I mean, I guess it could change things, but I feel like the end result will probably still be roughly the same.
Yeah.
Of like, okay, like you did still like have an affair and then have this child with the other guy, even if you thought it was.
I don't think it really.
OP's I mean, he had a vasectomy for God's sake.
Vasectomy. Yeah.
So like, how in what like what's the legal term? Reasonable doubt.
Yeah, you're like, yeah, here's my doctor telling me that the vasectomy was successful. Here's me going again and him telling me that I'm still sterile.
Here's my wife's acknowledging over text that I got a vasectomy.
Yeah.
Like it's easily provable, I feel like.
Yeah.
Anyway, hey, listen, we're not lawyers over here.
Ain't lawyers.
But we have an update of getting served.
Wow.
Oh my. So I met my sister at my house and we started moving my stuff to her house while the divorce goes through, or at least until my soon-to-be ex-wife leaves and I get possession of the house. We took 4 carloads to her house and came back for the rest. Rent a truck.
Yeah.
You're
doing this terribly.
Right? You're doing everything wrong. My sister felt it important for her to be there for support and as a witness. I also moved the nanny cam into the living room so it could record everything into the cloud. At about 10:45 a.m., I got a text from the lawyer saying that she had been served. I sent her an email saying that I'm at the house when she's ready to talk. A couple of minutes later, I got a text from my wife saying, why? Blah, 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 blah. So I resent the first text and waited for her to get home. She sent several texts and voicemails. They don't mention anything about cheating, just how she thought we were working this out, and she thought we would sit down and have a conversation before proceeding with a divorce.
I wonder why she thought that.
Oh, because OP
told her that?
Right. Yeah. She was playing the family card and how this will devastate the child in our families. I mean, yeah, again, anyways. How she feels betrayed. That was a good one. She was still sharing her location and it took her 20 minutes before she left work. She then stopped at a nearby Walgreens for a few minutes. Now he's tracking her. The purpose of the stop at Walgreens became clear as a police car pulled in behind her in the driveway. According to the officers, she got the police there because she was afraid that we had pew-pews in the house. You know, the pew-pews. I showed the officer. Okay, here we go.
Oh, so they did.
Yes, yeah, okay. We were like, what?
Yeah.
I showed the officers my empty pew-pew safe and said that I had removed them to another secure location. We went back to the living room and I showed my wife the paternity test that I had done that showed her that her daughter was not mine. Her response was denial and disbelief, which appeared genuine. She broke down.
She probably didn't know.
Yeah, it's possible she didn't know. Yeah. She broke down and cried for about 10 minutes. I told her this was the final straw and why I wanted the divorce. At about that time, the police officers reminded me to keep it civil and made their exit after I told them I was leaving soon to stay at my sister's house. When I asked who the child's father was, she claimed she didn't know. I asked if there were many guys she was sleeping with or if she just didn't know his name. I asked how many times she had cheated on me between pregnancies, to which she said it was just the two of them.
Oh, I don't believe her.
One person for that and one person for that.
I don't know if I entirely believe her because she said it was just the one before.
Right.
So I feel like she's just going to, confess to whatever he already knows.
Yeah. It's like, hey, what do you know? Oh, okay. Yes, I did that. But I did nothing more.
Nothing else. Oh, you found out the other thing? Well, it was just those two things.
Don't look into it.
More.
Don't look into the other thing.
Yikes.
Because the other thing is false.
It's a lie.
And I didn't do that.
Dang it. You have proof. I did that.
I just did that. So I told her that I had said earlier if she didn't tell the whole truth that I was done. I reminded her that I also told her that I couldn't/wouldn't raise someone else's child and that she had better figure out who the real father was because I wasn't paying child support for someone else's baby. Again, it's an innocent baby. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know.
That part I understand. The child support,
of course.
Sure.
Yes.
I get that, but
it's the energy.
Yeah.
It's the vibe. It's the vibe. She wanted to know what we were going to tell our daughter, and I said that was up to her because this was her mess and I wasn't taking the blame or cleaning it up for her.
That's also fair.
That is fair. I drafted a couple of emails last week, one for our friends and family with copies of all the test results and reasons why I was asking for a divorce, the other for my wife and copies of the same tests along with what I knew and things that I had told her previously. I had to run it through my lawyer and make a couple of edits before she signed off on it, and I sent copies to all of our friends and relatives when she pulled into the driveway this afternoon. Most of the feedback has been one-sided and very colorful. In the end, I told her that if she had been truthful, we might have been able to work things out, but I couldn't trust a lying serial cheater, and I told her if she had gotten her tubes tied instead of me getting a vasectomy, she might have gotten away with it.
Oh.
I mean, that is technically speaking true.
Guess so.
And you know what's crazy? We started the story with OP being like, okay, let me
doing the most.
You know?
Like, I understand that your body is being very much affected by birth control, so let me take this one.
Do you
and
think
then this is
that's why he's so adamant to get revenge or put her
not like it's not
get back at her? Right, but do you think that's oh, I did this for you? I mean, of course, all the lies and the cheating and all that, but also on top of that, I don't know,
That's
his motives are I understand he's upset, but his motives are very aggressive and very insidious.
Yeah,
it could be essentially the nice guy thing.
Yeah.
Of oh, I did this for, and yes, he did do that for her and it is good. But that doesn't mean you can just become this cruel person.
Yeah.
What did he expect when he's psych, I'm not the father. Nobody wins. No one's happy. Did he think he was gonna get a little happiness out of this?
I think probably. I think he's, lashing out because she lied to him.
Yeah.
And he's upset, and I think hopefully, in the long run, he'll kind of go to therapy and realize, oh, I probably shouldn't have done it like that.
Yeah. Let's hope.
Yeah.
Let's see if we got a redemption arc here. So Opie said, I told her she needed to get a lawyer so we could move forward and start to heal. And we have an update. I'm gonna dive right into this one, boys and girls. So we had our second meeting with the lawyers today, and we signed off on almost everything except the house, still waiting for the appraisal to come back and figure out that split. Motions got filed today, and a court-ordered paternity test was scheduled for all three of us. Since soon-to-be ex-wife didn't fight me on everything, we filed a no-fault divorce petition. If everything goes right, I get the house back on February 15th, and the divorce will be final on April 5th. The lawyers did a better job keeping us separated and the conversation between the two of us at a minimum. I was a little worried when she came in, pale with no energy to speak of. I couldn't tell if it was lack of sleep or maybe over-medicated. Isn't she pregnant still?
Yeah.
I mean...
Pregnant and also going through divorce. And yeah. Yeah.
that'll probably take a toll.
Yeah.
Honestly. She just stared out the windows as the lawyers read everything to us before we signed some of the papers. Walking out felt like I had shed a giant weight from around my neck. HR got me signed up for therapy tomorrow.
Good.
Maybe
need that.
we'll have a redemption arc.
You need this.
Yeah. My boss had to put a bottle of champagne on my desk to offer me some time off if I needed it, but I told him I was excited to get back to work. And we have some relevant comments, but just real quick.
Yeah.
I highly doubt anyone in his life who has been like supporting him and all this knows the things that he said
I doubt it.
to his
I mean,
his
they probably
ex-wife.
know that, she
That she
cheated on
cheated. He
him.
probably
and the
told him
kids are on
that.
him. Yeah.
Yeah. But let's get into these relevant comments. Critical Bank 5269 says, did she disclose any more info about her infidelity / child's ID, or is she just running through the motions at this point? OP says, she had already told me who the biodad was, but I don't know if I can believe her. Doesn't matter to me at this point. She did say she hasn't reached out to him yet, which makes me think she's deflecting. Not my monkey, not my circus anymore. You should have had that energy. That energy would have been way better earlier.
Yeah.
Equivalent B 886 says, did you know the biodad? Was he part of your friend group? What happened at the first meeting with the lawyers? Opie says, I think I remember meeting him at a time or two, but he was not part of our friend group. First meeting was just a prelim with my lawyer outlining our terms and what we intended to do if she contested to any of our terms. And deleted says, how are you doing? Can you update us?
Clearly not well.
Not well.
Like, very much not well.
Yeah. Oh, man. OP says, my ex got her share of the equity on the house and has already moved into her new apartment, and I move back into it tomorrow. Court-ordered DNA test came back, and the judge has approved the motions to terminate my paternal rights and obligations. There we go, as we expected. The divorce won't be final until April, but for all intents and purposes, I am free. Only contact I have with my ex is messages through my lawyer or meetings at the lawyer's office with her present. I blocked the ex and some of her family and friends. She has said that she wants to sit down and talk at some point, but my lawyer said that it should wait till after the divorce is final. I had dinner with the affair partner's wife again.
What?
Where was that?
What do you mean again?
When did that happen?
We didn't learn about that.
Why did you say again?
Yeah. How? What type of dinner?
Because we've seen a switcheroo before.
He's still on his vengeance tour. Oh
Dude.
man.
Yeah, he's
man.
like, I'm gonna
God.
take her affair partner's wife. Maybe,
How do you
maybe
like
he's just
that?
seeking comfort from someone who understands the situation. Maybe it's okay.
So he says, I had dinner with affair partner's wife again, as this has happened before, news to us. As we keep each other up to date on our ex-spouses, I almost feel sorry for him. She got him fired and is determined to drag out the divorce and inflict as much pain as possible. Well, I guess.
Sound familiar? Yeah.
Right? Like, equivalent B886 says, how did she get the affair partner fired? Was the affair partner an employee of the school district? Okay. Opie says, affair partner worked for her family's business. She told her dad and uncle who ran the business what he did. She didn't have to ask twice. They took his laptop, company phone, credit card, and company car the next morning with no
Dang.
notice. All he got was a cardboard box with his personal stuff and was escorted out. All in about 15 minutes. Equivalent B886 says, you had dinner with her twice. I get the impression that you like her. You could have easily caught up with her over the phone. Sometimes both BS become support systems for each other. I guess the victims in this case.
Yeah.
It is not uncommon for both BS to really like each other and for more to develop, or am I reading into this too much?
Let us know.
OP responds, comrades in arms to speak. We have been able to fill in the holes
What?
of what we know
Oh.
about our spouse's affairs.
Okay. Sure.
And we both have a macabre interest in the fate of our exes and their affair partners. Yes, a sinister one. All evidence from both sides point to about 6 weeks and them meeting up 3 times. The amount of spicy sleep is hard to say. Okay, wow. So they hooked up a lot more than just once.
Yeah, than the just once, which makes sense.
It's just once.
Yeah.
Update number 2, tormenting my ex-wife's affair partner.
Oh no.
Man.
Oh no.
Why?
Oh no.
Well, let's get into update number 2, tormenting my ex-wife's affair partner. So, throughout and after my divorce, I have kept in contact with Sharon, the other betrayed wife, as we had shared details about our ex's affairs, and both of us were interested in the consequences of our spouses ended up suffering, and we provided each other moral support. Gee, you don't say. We talk on the phone and usually have dinner once to twice a month to catch up. I feel like this is going to become something
you guys
more.
are into each other.
I feel like you're into each other. Last month, Sharon, the betrayed wife, said that one of her friends was getting married and had invited her to the wedding. Her ex, Stan, the affair partner of my wife, was also invited as he was a friend of the groom. Her invitation had a +1, and she pitched me the idea of going with her.
Oh my God.
Okay. Well, actually, you know what? This is not as bad as I thought it could be.
Yes, this is like,
so much better than I thought it was gonna be.
if you're gonna do something, this is of the,
And also, you guys are
vicinity.
totally into each other.
Yeah. Both as moral support and as a dig at her ex Stan. It was a weekend event, and we would share a room with double beds, strictly platonic.
Mhm.
The idea amused me, so I
You
agreed.
would share a room.
Dude, this
Mhm.
is God.
Yeah, I'm sure it was platonic.
So we flew in the day before the wedding and had dinner with several of Cheryl's friends. I was introduced as her friend, no mention of our history and the divorce. We didn't run into Stan until right before the ceremony as they escorted us to the bride's side while Stan was seated on the groom's side. Needless to say, he was less than pleased and kept looking over at us, something Sharon was well aware of. I can imagine. At the reception, we were seated with some of Sharon's friends from the night before, and we picked up where we left off, and everyone was quite engaged. Stan was seated at a table across the room from us, but in a clear view. We danced a bit together and probably drank more than we should. There was a brief confrontation with Stan and Sharon, but her friends diffused it quickly and spirited Sharon away. At the hotel after the reception, we had drinks with 2 other couples, several comments about Stan shooting daggers at us all night, and a few about how cute a couple we made, and questions about if we were serious or not. We laughed it off and said we were just friends. I had to support Sharon on the way to the room and had my arm around her. On the cramped elevator ride, we were standing quite close. When we got to the room, there was a tense moment, and we shook hands.
Oh, damn it.
And we kissed.
We're all shocked. No one's shocked. Everyone saw that coming from miles away.
Yep.
No one's shocked, OP. This is the least surprising thing in the whole story.
I'm floored. I never could have believed it. Ever in my life. Ever.
Come on.
Good judgment lost out to the booze, and we ended up sleeping together.
Wow. Shock. I'm so surprised.
Then I got on one knee.
And said, I'll get a vasectomy for you. Just kidding. I already have one.
Ooh, well, he didn't say that. But you know what I said?
What?
I said that you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this on Apple, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. You just have to search OK Storytime. And if you dare betray me and not search OK Storytime and listen to all of our episodes, I will become evil like OP.
Watch out.
And I'm going to do something.
Evil.
I'm going to do something. You don't know what it's going to be.
Well, don't be like OP.
I'm
OP's
gonna
kind of
be
evil is.
I'm going to be a different kind of evil.
Yeah.
I'm going to be
do like Mega Mind evil.
Yeah, like a just a goofball evil man.
Great showmanship.
Yes, with a large cranium
Mm-hmm.
for all my evil plots that I'm going to do. Anyways, so the next morning, we never spoke much about the elephant in the room, and we rushed out to catch our flight home. We did run into Stan as we were checking out, and he made a snide remark and walked off. Once we were on the plane, we talked about what had happened, that neither of us were sorry, but questioned the wisdom of the timing.
Yeah, probably not great.
We both agreed, and we each needed some time to process what had happened and agreed to have dinner next week and talk about it then. Yeah. More dinner dates. That's the solution.
Dinner. Sure.
Yeah, okay.
I know neither of us has tried to date since our divorce. I haven't been in the right headspace to even flirt, much less date. I have a session already scheduled with my therapist where I'll bring this up, but we did have a great weekend at the wedding.
Well, there you go,
Wow.
I guess.
Wow.
Wowee! My wife's hobby is destroying our marriage.
Don't let it, I think.
As of last night, it looks like my 38 male marriage is headed towards divorce, largely in part due to my wife's 35 female hobby of running.
Oh, no. Run away!
As a bit of background, we have been married for 11 years and have 2 kids under 10. When we met years ago, my main hobbies were yoga and casually participating in triathlons. My wife enjoyed fitness activities at the time, but didn't do anything in particular. Over time, she started to get involved in both yoga and triathlons so that we could spend time together doing it. By the way, this comes from Analysis Own 618. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, this morphed here and there as we got married and had kids and time marched on. But we were always doing something. When my wife became pregnant with our second child, she decided that she liked yoga so much that she would like to pursue being an instructor. This was time intensive and costly. What did that say?
Nothing.
What did that say?
Said.
Didn't say anything, John.
What did that
It
say,
said.
John? What did that
Riley
say?
took his fingers and he typed out the words, "Tell Sophia her hair sucks."
That wasn't me.
I'm coming for you.
Get him. You have full permission to.
Thanks. I'm getting them. This was time intensive and costly, but we did it. After our second was born, she left her office job to be a stay-at-home mom and to start teaching yoga on the side. She loved this so much, she decided she wanted to do fitness full-time when the kids were both in school. So in preparation, she picked up multiple other certifications to teach many different things, including personal training.
Cool.
As our kids got older, she started teaching more and more, but quickly realized that this was taking a toll on her body and burning her out. It just wasn't possible to do this full time for her. It was about this time, 4 years ago, that she thought maybe it was just the wrong fitness path, and maybe she should pursue running coaching. I supported this as we were both running together at the time and doing small races. At this point, she is teaching multiple types of fitness classes and working on her running certification. She also starts putting significant effort into her personal running.
I didn't know you could be certified in running.
Certified, what is it?
Certified runner boy.
Certified running coach.
Run.
You're getting certified to walking really fast. Like, how does that even work?
She started preparing for her first marathon when the vid hit. Instead of backing off the training since there were no races, she decided to stay in marathon shape just in case. You never know when you need to run a marathon.
That's right.
For 2 years, she spent significant time every week on running, which I fully supported, although I thought that level of training with no down season was not a great idea. During this time, she started running with different groups and got to know many of the local runners. Eventually, the vid ends and she can do her first marathon. She's hooked. Our kids are now in school full-time as well. Through her relationship, she gets offered a part-time job doing small running programs for a local store. This new job paid just over $3,000 in 2022, and that was before tax was taken out. In exchange for this, she gives up 2 to 3 weeknights and 1 weekend morning.
Is it $3,000 a year or $3,000
I don't
a
know.
month?
I'm really wondering that.
That is
It's a big
an
change.
important question.
She has not stopped being in full marathon training mode since she started. Between personal running and her running groups, she spends a little over 20 hours a week on running. Around 8 months ago, she decides she is fully burnt out on her other endeavors and quits teaching classes entirely. That's the background and now the issues. In order to fit this all in and to run with her personal running buddies, even though she's home during the day when the kids are in school, she has moved her schedule. Most days of the week, she gets up at 4 a.m. to do her runs. This is when her friends meet. In her mind, this is getting her running in when it doesn't impact me or the family. The problem is that all she has done is shift waking hours. My day with her is essentially waking up and getting the kids ready for school while I get ready for work. She'll get home in the middle of this and I'll leave for work. I get home and either we eat dinner, have a kids sport event, or she leaves for a training group. On a good day, I will have 2 hours with her until she's asleep just after the kids around 8. On a bad day, she walks in the door around 8 and falls asleep. Girl, you're going too hard. You're obsessed. This is an addiction.
Let me run till I can't run anymore.
Kimberly Hawley, Dax Little Army says, what the hell is OP's wife running from?
Oh,
Hot take.
talk
Hot
to me.
take.
We read a story about a chick that was doing a lot of gym, and she would just always go to the gym, and we thought she was addicted.
She was cheating.
She was cheating.
Uh-oh.
Just might be.
Is she cheating at 4 a.m. in the morning? 'Cause that's
Yeah,
crazy.
you gotta get it in early.
Yeah, if some people are running at 4 a.m. in the morning, what's the difference between running and running? You know what I'm saying?
Is that how people are trying to start their day?
I guess so.
Oh my
Disgusting.
God.
I then sit alone in the living room for a few hours before I head to bed. The next day, the whole thing starts over again. Around 3 months ago, things got even more complicated. She decided that $3,000 a year was not enough for her to contribute financially, and fitness just wasn't going to be a full-time career. She decided to get a full-time office job. This girl's got to have no time with anyone.
Okay.
This was a difficult and emotional decision for her as she felt she was giving up on what she was passionate about. Now the day looks the same, except she's working during the day and then running out the door to go to her running groups, which she is now calling a hobby. She's fully unable to step away from this unless it is a fully scheduled off day. She will not miss running. If we're on a family vacation, she's going to find a way to get a run in every day. I feel like this is like who runners are. I feel like every runner I know is this intense and crazy.
Like, I need to wake up before me every day.
I need to run.
I need to run.
Yeah. I have become so unbearably lonely. I work a high-stress job that pays well, but is always weighing on me in some way. I feel that I'm a pretty good husband. I'm involved with the kids. I help with their school projects and take them to their sporting events. I practice with them in the yard all the time. I do at least my fair share of the housework, including dishes and laundry and other cleaning. I take care of myself physically by working out on my lunch hour, so I don't have to take more time from the family. Dude's, oh my gosh, this poor man.
I love how he's like, yeah, I squeeze in my fitness during lunch so it doesn't interfere with all of the other 20 hours of fitness that she's got going on.
I just have no relationship with my wife since she's always gone or sleeping. This has been an ongoing discussion for months now. I have expressed how lonely I am. I have told her that I don't need much, but I do need some affection from her. I would love to just sit on the couch and cuddle and watch a movie sometime.
Are you kidding me?
It's too much. You're expecting too much.
That is way too much.
She's got to run. Maybe
Dude.
you can watch a movie while she runs.
You can buy a couch that can be planted on her shoulders, so that way you're just like,
And you're like,
I've also seen some couples, like one will be running and the other one will be like on a bike, you know?
I have expressed my needs directly and multiple times, but nothing has changed. This all came to a head last weekend. It started with a rare date night. She ran a race Saturday morning, so I spent the morning with the kids getting the house cleaned, yard mowed, and everything taken care of. I have coordinated to have a sitter watch the kids and make dinner reservations. The night went well, but when we got home around 8:30, she fell asleep right away without saying a word to me. Later, while talking about a family vacation this year, she let me know that she has been planning 2 destination marathons in early spring. I had heard her mention she was wishing she could do one of them, but due to timing, I cannot go with her since the kids are in school. I thought this meant it was still a discussion. One of these will cost thousands of dollars to attend.
good thing she makes $2,000 a year.
Yeah, thank goodness.
That will cover one
well,
of these
hopefully, I think she makes that a month. Or she was making it a month.
trips. No,
Oh, it said a year?
It said 3,000.
That's
Go back.
insane.
Go back. I was surprised. I was like,
I
surprised you didn't comment on
I
that.
like totally didn't.
It's 3,000 a year. Check it out.
Dingus bot, how much money does a wife make a year?
In 2020. Wow. No.
It is.
It doesn't specify.
Watch.
Where?
It literally said that. Dink. Come on.
She decided that $3,000 a year. Yeah, you're right. That's insane. I
Crazy.
totally missed that. Wow.
Wow. She's running away from a job application.
Yikes.
Oh.
Okay.
And her marriage.
One of these will cost thousands of dollars to attend. She has made up her mind that she's going to both, since one is for a Boston qualifier and the other was offered for free. Does she even make money from these?
No.
She didn't want to tell me about these since she thought it would upset me. Yeah. Although she claims she dropped hints. Since she has a new job, this will take nearly all of her time off and we will not be able to have a family vacation. She's not willing to miss either of these. To top it all off, she then told me that she will be gone on our anniversary in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because she was invited to be a pacer for a race coming up and was offered a free hotel to do it.
A free hotel is going to make you freaking miss your wedding anniversary?
Of course.
Honestly, like, if you've had these conversations, I think you sit her down and you say, like, hey, it's not working. If nothing changes, it's this relationship doesn't exist.
But I gotta run.
I gotta run, babe. I gotta run.
What do you expect me to do? Not run all the time?
She has never done this before and is excited to try it. She claims she hasn't committed to this already and is still deciding, but I'm pretty sure she already said yes and just hasn't told me yet. I was very hurt by this since I already feel like I am a much lower priority than running to her. This all broke me. I dumped and told her how this made me feel. There were tears on both sides. She claims that she feels I am always mad at her and not supportive of her, and she has to keep her running life from me. Like, I have to keep this side of me secret from you. This is what leads to the lack of affection. I explained my feelings and reiterated how lonely I am. I asked her if she would be willing to find a compromise and maybe focus on shorter races, and she told me no. That if I made her do that, then she would resent me, and this is what makes her happy. But you know what makes me happy? Listening to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime.
Woo! Run to that. That's something you can run
right
to.
over to those episodes.
And run through the episodes too. Just
barrel
listen
on
to
through. There's a little bit left to the story.
What
does OP do?
OP, I think, it was already pretty clear, but the answer she just gave when he said, he's not saying, oh my gosh, you can't run to that. He's like, okay, how can you still get what you clearly love and enjoy, and us still have some modicum of a relationship, us still have family time together? And she's like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Well, then
I literally don't think that you can continue this relationship if your partner is unwilling to compromise at all and hears that you're lonely and doesn't care.
yes.
It doesn't work.
That
Like,
part.
if she wants to focus on running full time, then she can't have the relationship too.
Yep.
I asked if she would try couples therapy, and while open, there isn't a time that would work based on her new job. Yeah, how is she going to fit couples therapy in? That doesn't
On a run.
Yeah, she's like, if we're doing it while I'm running, sure.
Yeah.
There was one small win when I asked her if I hypothetically asked her to take 1 week off from running, would she be able to do it? She said no.
Huh?
That was the small win?
I thought she was going to say yes.
She said no. She would be mad if I asked and unable to actually do it anyway.
Huh?
Upon saying this, she said that it makes it sound like she's addicted to running. Girl, you said it. I don't believe that's wrong. She said that she will consider individuals therapy, but we will see what she does there. For my part, I came into work and scheduled a psychologist appointment for tomorrow. It's virtual, but I'll see if it helps me work through this on my end. I do want to say I am proud of her and she's doing amazing. She's now at a level where she wins races, or at the very least her age group, but has come at such a huge cost. I love her, but don't know how much longer I can reasonably keep this up. I'm sure I come across as an unsupportive monster and that this is also one-sided. I have seen how the running community rallies around itself, and I'm somewhat worried I'll get torn apart on that level as well. I'm just lonely. I miss my wife. This poor man.
Dang. And I'm like reading one of his posts, and he's talking about how one of the groups has 2 ladies in it, and another group that she goes to is just entirely full of men.
I
Dude.
don't think she has time to cheat, man. I literally don't think she's thinking about other men at all. I don't think she's thinking about anybody but her running. That's it. I don't think she's capable.
That's fair. Yeah, I mean, this ain't gonna work.
Yeah, unfortunately, I do think this relationship is over if she's not even willing to consider taking a week off, going to your anniversary, getting therapy. Not much else you can do.
I agree.
But unfortunately, we don't know what happens after that
Oh,
because that's the end of the story.
I had a crush on another woman, and my wife discovered it.
Hey, more the merrier.
Just a little crush. My wife and I have been married 4 years and together for 6. I love her deeply. However, recently, I have developed an infatuation for a woman I work with.
Oh boy.
Stop that. You don't do that. I did not cheat and have a strictly work relationship with her. I recognize my feelings as a mere crush, but still felt guilty and needed to talk about it. By the way, this comes from user Tim Bon R, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, about 2 months ago, I posted on a forum, not Reddit, about this woman and found sympathy. It helped me understand how crushes in a long-term relationship work. A month ago, I came home to my wife having printed my post. She confronted me, and as I was taken by surprise, I didn't really know how to explain myself. Did you use your names? How the heck did she know it was you, bro? That's weird. I couldn't lie either, so I just apologized to her. She read me my post while crying. I cannot post it entirely here, but basically I said she was a breath of fresh air, the reason I'm happy to go to work. I wish I could hold her in my arm and know how she smells. I often dream of her. Sometimes I lie down and imagine her in front of me. These were things I was thinking, but couldn't say out loud. They were things that could have been written in a diary. They were private thoughts, and I never imagined my wife would read them. In the end, it is just a fantasy. No! Ever since that day, my wife has barely spoken to me. She refuses to discuss it and won't look at me in the eye the rare times she addresses me. She moved into our guest room. She told me she was getting ready to divorce and would file when she has enough money, and that I shouldn't hope, that I am free to pursue that woman. I understand why she is hurt, but it is just an infatuation. It is not comparable to the love and history I have for her. How can I get through to her? She told me she never had feelings for another man and that I betrayed her. She won't stay married to a man who yearns for another woman. I told her I would change jobs, but she just said I'll still dream of her. She's completely closed off. What can I do? I apologize for errors. I'm stressed and not a native English speaker. And we have some relative comments.
Bro,
Riley, what do we do?
call it a day. Let's make it work.
Time to I'm single now. I'm ready to hold you in my arms.
She's not gonna want you.
This is terrible.
I need a picture of them as a couple and then a picture of this person. That would help me so much.
The fact that you're like, it's just like a fantasy. This person is someone you see every single day. There is a major difference of having like a celebrity crush.
This does feel like a celebrity crush, but they're just not a celebrity.
No. Like there's like, oh, it's just like, oh, it's funny. Like I have a celebrity crush on Anne Hathaway. Great. Like it's never gonna happen.
Solid.
But it's like, oh, Anne Hathaway's beautiful. And Carly knows this. And she's like, cool, that's funny. And I know Carly has celebrity crushes too. And I'm like, that's funny.
Like on
Great.
Stitch.
But this is not a fantasy because you are going into the workplace every single day, staring at this woman, yearning for her. You talk to her. You're friends with her.
Yeah.
We have some relevant comments, and I want to see what they're going to say. Croatian chick. So, have you gotten a new job yet? What have you done to show your wife that you're serious about your marriage and that she's the only one who matters to you? Opie says, she won't let me talk to her or touch her. Sometimes she will leave the room when I come in. She is like a wall. I tried buying her favorite flowers and wrote a card, but she didn't take them. I'm invisible to her. I was looking for jobs when I informed her I would change jobs to avoid the woman, but she told me not to bother as she was leaving. In this economy, I cannot easily risk being unemployed, especially if I will end up divorced. Pancake waffles toast, there's an innocent crush, and then there's wanting something to happen between the two of you. Your wife knows this. Everybody knows this, and you should know this. You wanted to hold your coworker in your arms, etc., etc. It's not the fact that you have a crush on someone. It happens naturally and is human nature. It's the fact that you have had a crush and wanted things to happen between you two, and that's what broke your wife's heart. Also, in the first place, if you wanted to keep your thoughts private, you shouldn't have posted it on the internet.
So you kind of wanted to get caught. This is kind of what cheating's like. I'll do a little bit of cheating to see if I get caught.
Yeah, this is literally emotionally cheating. Even though, that you haven't done it,
It's
but
like
in your head,
one-way
it's like you are.
emotionally.
I feel like you're trying at work. I feel like you left out clear details. Like, oh, I want to go talk to this woman at work. I want to go hang out. I want to be around her every single time I'm at work. You literally said, it's the reason why I go to work. It makes work happy for me. That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
We have an update. Let's just get straight into it. 5 months later. I had forgotten about this post, and I'm back to update, so maybe seeing my stupidity could prevent someone else from making the same mistakes. I cringe when I read today what I wrote months ago, and it seems ridiculous to me that I could have felt this way about another woman. I wrote that I would imagine my former coworker while lying in bed, but in the end, when my wife stopped acknowledging my existence, waking up without seeing her face was just an absolute torture. I really took all I had for granted until I almost lost it. So I took some advice and decided to court my wife again the hardest I could. Of course, the first step was looking for another job, and it took me a month, but I managed to find a similar position in another enterprise. I did what was suggested of taking over every chore, and she stopped ignoring me, but would simply stare at me with some kind of hostility and go on with her life. I tried flowers, but she would leave them to pass away. My wife's dominant love language is physical, but I wouldn't dare try touching her, so I went for telling her. I somehow realized it was really the content of what I wrote about the other woman, which obviously, when you are deep in a crush, is amplified. That really hurt my wife. I tried engaging her in conversations so we can talk about what was happening to us, but more importantly, what I did to her, but she remained closed off. And so I started writing her letters and would leave them under her pillow. At first, I apologized for everything, for writing the post, for not putting an end to the crush faster, for making her feel like another woman could hold a higher place of importance to me, and for not taking the initiative to change jobs earlier, and for making her life hard by creating this situation which ended in her sleeping in the guest room of her own house,
Oh boy.
for making her cry and causing stress to her.
Dude, you got so much to fix here. You're battling an uphill battle.
Yeah, but if that's what you want to do and save your marriage, That's what you're going to have to do.
Yes.
Put in the triple effort.
Yeah.
Then I wrote her love letters telling her how much I loved her, how the crush couldn't compare to the deep love I have for her. I was chewed out for saying I loved her because of our history in my last post, but I was misunderstood. I meant that the love I have for her has gotten stronger with time. 5 years ago I loved her, but wouldn't have given her one of my organs if she needed.
Sometimes you dig a hole and you just got to break the shovel because you're not getting yourself out of it.
Yeah. For example, while now I would without hesitation. That's a weird way of saying I love you, but okay. Our history is what caused the attachment to grow stronger. Therefore, no random crush could override that. I was awed in front of my crush and wrote sappy things about her, but in the end, I do not know this woman on a personal level, while I have seen the worst of my wife and the love remains. I told her how beautiful she was and how impressed and proud I was with her development as a person since we have met, how grateful I was for her presence in my life, and every single thing I was thankful for that she did and enhanced my life, and how much I needed her and missed hearing her tell me how her day went, laugh at my bad jokes, and basically just missed hearing all the sound of her voice. I feel like you should have thought of that, during your crush.
Or while you were writing the post for the other chick.
Yeah, dude.
Maybe that should have came up.
These are all words.
It doesn't feel real.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like you actually mean any of this. You're just trying to make up for it.
Especially from this post. Maybe. I don't know, but
like, just stop. Stop.
It's the actions speak louder than words kind of thing. And I guess you are doing it, but your words were a lot louder than your actions.
Yeah.
This is a small sample, but it must have taken a good 3 weeks of daily letters until she answered me back. She answered with a letter of her own, telling me how much I have hurt her with my crush, how I made her feel invisible next to that woman, how I never told her such loving words until the letters, how much she hated me, but also how much she loved me and missed me too. Her letter allowed me to feel her vulnerability. After reading it, I cried and went to see her. We locked eyes, she cried, and we held each other for a long time.
No way.
She started talking to me again then and softened. Honestly, the possibility of the marriage ending just like that scared the both of us.
Stop.
It's on you.
He's coming back.
He's coming back. I mean,
what?
And you can come back to listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, or your favorite podcast app and search What, Riley?
Okay, story time.
And there you will find so many stories, just like the letters he kept putting under her pillow, so many of them. There's a little bit left to this story.
Wow.
I don't know how
Is
I
this
feel.
love bombing?
This is extreme love bombing. Her comment is like, you never said any of this until you got caught. And then you're like, oh, I got caught red-handed? I don't want a divorce. I don't want any consequences for my actions. And,
Come on. Come on.
This is hard.
Yeah.
I don't know. Couples therapy is 100% required here because now you're just love bombing. And what's stopping you from like, all right, you did all that work.
Yeah.
And what's stopping you from coming down again and doing the crush thing to another female coworker? Let's go ahead and continue and finish the story. As of today, we are, to my surprise, mostly back to normal. And actually, I feel closer to her. We continue with the letters, which have helped increasing our emotional intimacy. I make an effort to tell and show her my love. I am very grateful that she has given me a second chance, and even more so that she has decided to put the crush behind us. We had maybe 2 fights since, but she hasn't brought it up and doesn't punish me. It really wasn't the crush on itself, but how I went about it and the lack of affection from my part in comparison. Maybe I'm being optimistic here, but I truly think we are going to get through this. We will be going to couple counseling after our vacation just to make sure things are really settled between us. And we have some final comments. Toothless 2-0. It's nice how hard you are trying. The thing you need to continue to work on is not stopping this once you have got her completely back. For me, I would never get over what you said. I would have filed for divorce immediately. I'm glad things are working out for you though. OP says, thank you. I do not plan on stopping. I realized I wasn't putting enough work into my marriage before.
Well, yeah. I think he's going by the grass is greener on the other side.
Yeah.
But he's like, I need to water it to make it greener on this side.
And there's a couple more comments. Terrible dragon for hire. Yeah, buddy. Save the letters. And when you have a fight or you forget how much you love her, you break that crap out and remind yourself. And the ineffable one, I would unalive or pass away to see my late wife again for even 1 second. Treasure her and don't F up again. And that is the end of that story.
That's the end of that story. I chose my wife over my best friend, but now I might lose them both.
Oh, you got zonked.
My wife, 39 female, Dana, and I, 37 male, met each other in 2019. We got married a little more than a year later. We have 2 kids together, boy 4 and girl 2. By the way, this comes from Realist Muss, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/showcase Storytime subreddit. So, the background on the main issue is as following. One of my close friends has been Haley, 39 female. We met in university almost 20 years ago, and have been close friends since. Before I met Dana, I was spending a lot of my time with Haley and her family, which at the time was her husband, male 41, and 1 girl, 8ish. Today, they expanded their family with an additional child. I spent some time with Haley's family, and their daughter kind of became a niece to me, and I was the fun uncle. There has never been any interest to have any other type of relationship. Already, before Dana and Haley met for the first time, there was some tension from Dana's side. She thought it was weird that I was messaging Haley from time to time and asked her if we ever had a thing. I truthfully told her no, and there hadn't been any feelings either. I was just excited to tell Haley about the girl I was going to marry one day, and I thought that it would blow over. Then they met for the first time, and it seemed to work great, and I was relieved. And the issue started. Before Christmas, we were invited to make some mulled wine. The daughter of Haley was really liking Dana and took Dana to her room for some pretend tea party. This is where I effed up. I went in and checked on them and asked if everything was all right and if she was all right. She said she was and they were having fun. Okay, tell me if you need anything. I'm in the middle of mulling the wine. I finished making the mule wine together with Haley and her husband. And then I think we had dinner and all of us, apparently, it was fine. Dana had felt left alone with the child and was not happy in the car ride home. Well, you could have adult handled that situation and be like, hey, I'm going to go talk to the parents.
It's all about communication, folks.
I had not interpreted the situation correctly. This was the first big fight we had in hindsight. I should have picked up on it, but I didn't. A few weeks later, we all celebrated New Year's together, and it went fine. After this, Haley became a sore topic, and every time this topic came up, there were a lot of emotions from both sides. Her being aggravated, and me being down and a bit hopeless. She thinks it's weird that I have this close of a friendship with Haley, mostly because she doesn't feel welcomed. And I also think it's because Haley's a woman. I think that it all started on the wrong foot and never recovered after that. I don't know what to do, and I've kind of put it in my head in the dirt, hoping it would be a phase and that everything would solve itself over time. Nice problem solving skills I have. Then the vid happens and the whole world isolates. Me and Dana live together at this point. Haley and I talk sometimes to update each other on the isolation life. And if Dana saw this, there would be comments about it. I stopped taking initiative to talk to Haley at this point, but I still replied when she wrote to me. In March of 2020, we found out Dana was pregnant, which was a planned thing from our side, and we had our first child in November. During the pregnancy, we met with Dana and her family once in an outdoor, the vid safe manner. I would call to meet up a polite gesture from my wife. We were married during the pregnancy in the city hall. Then once our baby was born, Haley came by with some presents to him that she had made. A pillow with his name and personalized Christmas stockings for the whole family.
Okay.
Sick.
That's nice.
This was the last time we saw each other.
Oh, no, not sick. Not great.
The next years were full of sleep deprivation, severe back issues, including an emergency surgery in my wife's home country from my side, and generally trying to adapt to having a family. During this time, we sometimes got an invite to a dinner party or such from Haley and her family, which I would decline every time, citing the aforementioned issues. Then I informed my wife that we got the invitation and that I declined. This sometimes caused irritation from her side, but I thought it was better to tell her than not. And I told Dana that. She sometimes requests to see the messages, which I showed her. In 2023, we got our second child, a baby girl, and everything went fine.
I'm confused there. Because why are you just outright declining invitations to go do things without talking to your wife first?
She's already going to say no. She doesn't like it. She's like, hey, by the way, I got this invitation from Haley, but I already declined it.
It seems like she's getting upset when you don't tell her, too.
He's always telling her.
But it's like,
She
he's
just
like, yeah, I already declined after it.
Anything with Haley's name on it, Dana's not about.
The strife that they've got, I feel like a lot of it is just vid time, pandemic time.
Probably.
They got locked in and then they had a kid together and it's been years and they've been isolated essentially from everything except their parental responsibilities.
Yeah. Well, I'm in a similar situation, but in the complete opposite reaction. Sophia and I are very close. We do work together. But we're like brother and sister. Angie's not jealous.
Mhm.
She's not like, why are you hanging out with Sophia?
I just mean that there's that era during the pandemic.
Oh,
There was
a lot of people were.
yeah, where because it's like you can still, if you want to, you can leave.
Yeah.
Or you could move, or you could do whatever you want. But it's like this is a time where like a lot of people got locked in to a situation and had no power to change it for a long time.
A few months later, I got a message from Haley that had gotten their second child as well. I congratulated them and mentioned that we also had our second child a few months earlier. We traded baby pictures, and that was that. I told Dana that they had gotten another baby. Dana asked if we were still in contact. I truthfully answered that this is what the first contact since the last time we were invited to a dinner. And here comes maybe the crescendo. A year later, we got invited for an Easter feast to Haley and her family's place. I told them that we couldn't make it, and then the question came, what's going on? And it was kind of the breaking point for me. I knew that I couldn't hide behind lame excuses anymore, and I told her that unfortunately my marriage wasn't compatible with our friendship, and that it all kind of came up to the surface, and I wrote a lengthy apologetic message to her. I started to vent a little bit to her and said that sometimes I have trouble sleeping because of the way I treated our friendship in the end, and I sometimes feel a little broken and not in control of my life. She got a bit worried and wrote back a long message back where she asked if I had anyone to talk to, but that she understands. The main point of my message was that I love my wife and that I choose my marriage over our friendship. I also told her that I am sorry that it came to this and that my inaction mostly caused this. This time, I did not tell Dana that we got an invite, nor did I tell her that I more or less ended the friendship. I now consider the chapter closed and a stone lifted from my shoulder. It was not a happy ending, but it ended.
I just wonder if these rules go across the aisle. You know what I mean? Like,
If OP's doing that,
and she's
Does
allowed
Dana
to
do
have
that?
friends with whoever she wants to be friends with, maybe. You know, because this sounds like a situation where, and I'm not saying that like, well, once you have kids with somebody, it's not like they can cheat on you. Of course they can. Of course you can be infidelitous. Like in OP sounds like he's like, I'm happy that I'm starting a family with my wife,
yeah.
but I'm not allowed to be friends with anyone who's like a woman.
I do think having friends with the opposite is tricky in the context of a marriage. Because, I mean, the only woman I feel comfortable being alone with that isn't my mother, my grandmother, or my girlfriend is Sophia, because she's like a sister to me. In any way, you know, outside of that, I wouldn't give my permission to hit up anyone else and like hang out alone with them. Fast forward to now, almost 1 year later, Dana asked me out of the blue if I was in contact with Haley recently, and I told her no. I thought I saw her name in the messenger app, she said. I told her I thought she was mistaken. I showed her and I scrolled down quite a bit for her to see the last message. I said, here it is, almost a year ago. We got invited to Easter. And I said no. Then she stated that I never told her about that and she asked to see the phone. I let her see it and also told her the short version that I ended the friendship at that point. She read through it and she felt betrayed that I didn't tell her. She also asked, what? You can't sleep because of her? Go to her then. Just go. She didn't sleep in her bed that night. And this morning, she had removed the necklace I gave her on Valentine's and her wedding ring. There's nothing to talk about. The trust is gone, she said. It's hard to have a conversation right now, and I'm not able to explain myself. This is where we are. This might be it. I want to repair our marriage. I love her. And all this time, I just wanted things to be non-problematic. I just want to live a calm life. But I think I have ruined it by my bad habit of leaving things where they are and hoping for the best. I am going to suggest couples therapy when she comes back home from work. I took a sick day, and I'm hoping that couples therapy can repair things, or at the very least, let us co-parent in a good way if it comes to that. Can I be your daddy?
Yeah, you were born to be my dad.
And let me be your daddy anytime you want by joining us on your favorite podcast platform. Just search up OK Storytime on Apple, Spotify, or iHeartRadio, and we will be your daddies.
That's right. And you can download them, right?
You can download them.
So that way, even if you don't have the internet, you can still listen to us.
Yep, listen to your parents. Go to your room.
You can listen to your parents.
And download OK Storytime on your favorite podcast platform. Dakota, I'm going to take a guess that you don't think this marriage is salvageable.
I think it could be. Because again, it's like, it's a product of this like crazy pandemic time.
Yeah.
But like, I don't think she's ever going to relent and say like, yeah, we should go to couples counseling or we should like get it there. I think maybe if they did that, they could get to the root of whatever their issue is, but she certainly doesn't sound like she's going to be open to it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely not.
Yeah, it sounds like unless there's a reciprocal, rule where it's like, I'm not friends with any men and I would never, which is crazy to me because it's not like it's like we'll never spend time with any men or any women. It's like, well, it's just if we're together. It's like they were invited as a family to go there. That's why I'm so confused about like,
How did we get here?
right,
Yeah.
it's like,
This is wild.
yeah, what do you think the odds are that she's cheating?
It's definitely, I like using fractions, 2/5 of a possibility.
40% chance.
Yep. I have suggested therapy before in earlier conflicts, but it's been turned down. In my country, there's a 6-month delay in divorces that include children, but I don't want a divorce. I don't know what to do, and I'm afraid of what's going to happen to the children. I love them so much. I don't want them to grow up in a split household. Having 2 homes is going to feel like no home. I'm actually so afraid of the future right now. I don't know what the next step should be, and I'm sad over this. What can I do to save this? How do I get her to talk to me and listen? How do I make sure that the kids are not stuck in between homes? We have one comment. Does what you believe about friendships and them being platonic ever matter? Does the fact that you've sacrificed this positive thing in your life for her completely unwarranted paranoia matter? You seem to be trying to walk a tightrope. Make sure you don't make some misstep that is going to piss your wife off. And even the way you describe events in this post sounds like you are emotionally desperate not to upset this woman. You go out of your way to blame yourself for everything. Nothing your perpetually angry and mistrusting wife says or does is wrong. You sound miserable. She's gonna demand to read this post too, isn't she? And you know what? And you're trying to write it in a way that won't anger her when she does. Do you matter at all in this relationship? And Opie says, wow, reading your comment really feels weird, and the stuff with the tightrope. I don't think I wrote a presentable way on purpose. Maybe you're right. I haven't really thought about showing this to her. It was for me to get an outside perspective on a situation I kept for myself for quite some time. Would I be lying by omission if I don't show her this? And the reply, I think you're missing the point. You shouldn't have to be this terrified of your wife and this stressed out to try to please her. You tried distancing yourself from your friend. It wasn't good enough. You ended the friendship. It wasn't good enough. She's saying you betrayed her because of your wording when you ended the relationship. She doesn't seem to notice anything positive you do. But one step out of line and you're a terrible person and she can take off her wedding ring? Again, does how you feel or what you do matter at all? Marriage shouldn't feel like this.
Dang.
And if this is you right now, I'd probably go to journaling.
My wife refuses to be intimate with me, and she won't tell me why. There's got to be a reason. My wife, 35 female, and I, 35 male, have been married for 15 years, and we've been together for 20 years. We have 2 kids, 12 and 14. We absolutely adore and work tirelessly to provide the best possible life for them. By the way, this comes from the Machuca I don't know, man. Machuca Jr.? Machuca Jr. Yeah. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, for the past 3 years, things have been somewhat bumpy. I understand that our kids are at an age where they require a ton of our attention and resources with school, band, club sports, and other extracurriculars. And I'm aware of the physical and emotional toll that can have on marriages. However, for these past 3 years, my wife and I have had very little intimacy and very little spicy sleep, and we've been trying very hard to work on that aspect of our relationship. This past year has been the most difficult and by far the darkest year in our marriage. We didn't talk very much. We essentially became roommates co-parenting our kids under the same roof. It was very depressing and very demoralizing. It was to the point where we began contemplating divorce, and it became very dark and gloomy in the household because of that. We began seeking help with both individualized therapy and couples therapy, and it seems to have helped some. Little by little, we started to get along and started to have deeper conversations about what our marriage looks like and what we would love for it to look like. This is where it gets tough. As time passed, my wife started to tell me that she no longer was in love with me. Oof. And that she only saw me as a best friend. Rough. That she only loved me in a very platonic way, and this was one of the main reasons that she didn't have any desire for intimacy and let alone spicy sleep. This was very shocking to me, and quite frankly, I was devastated. I became angry and depressed, and I couldn't fathom the thought that I was no longer wanted or desired by the person I felt completely in love with. Things began to deteriorate again, and not long after, we were back to square one. I sat down with her one afternoon and had a heart-to-heart and began to ask questions about where the root of this problem lies, and her answer was, I don't know.
and that I have built up resentment towards you, but I don't know where it stems from. As you can imagine, this provides very little to no insight about how to approach this. Yeah, that sounds very difficult to deal with.
Yeah.
I am puzzled, I'm frustrated, and I do not know what to do at this point. Currently, we've arrived at a place where she says that she has no spicy sleep drive and no desire for intimacy or connection. She says that all she wants is simply companionship, which basically means our co-parenting roommate dynamic. I asked her what I could possibly do or what it is about me that is so unattractive or undesirable, and her response is always, I don't know. She stated that she does love me, but it's not the same. That she has been feeling disconnected for years and that our marriage just takes up too much work. Her focus is only the children for now, and that my co-parenting contributions are meaningful to her in our home. In regard to intimacy and or spicy sleep, she basically told me that it's not something she's interested in or wants at this time. She mentioned that the only way to get to a point for any of that is to be intoxicated, which I believe is incredibly awful and very wrong.
Dang.
I told her I do not think forcing herself to have spicy sleep or being intimate by drinking or smoking is good, and I declined to be a part of that, which, to my surprise, upset her and made her more distant. Interesting.
Y'all need to break divorce.
You think?
She doesn't love you like that anymore. And it's hurting
Dang,
you
man.
because you're searching for some reason of why she doesn't love you. She
Yeah.
doesn't seem to know. Maybe she does know and she's lying.
Yeah.
But either way, it doesn't really matter. She doesn't love you anymore. She's not physically attracted to you anymore.
Yeah.
There's
But it's
not much she can do.
because it kind of sounds like she just doesn't want that at all. So it doesn't even sound like she wants that with another person.
Which, yeah,
You know?
sure, might be true.
Yeah.
In either case, it isn't doing OP any good to stay
No.
there, and she gets what she wants out of the relationship, which is like a companion, friend,
Yeah.
a co-parent. But that's
Right.
not what OP wants, so
Right.
you gotta leave her. And that doesn't mean
Dang.
you can't co-parent effectively.
To continue, we're both extremely honest and transparent. We've never cheated on each other, and we are always free to look through each other's phones, emails, socials, etc. And we hardly ever do. I asked her if there was someone else, and she declined. Honestly, I believe her. We then peacefully went through each other's things, and as expected, it was clean. We've always been very forward, even with the hard topics, so I don't smell nor feel any foul play or infidelity. I'd love some outside perspective on this matter and some insight on how to address something like this. It feels so awful to be unwanted and undesired by my own spouse. I hate it. And we do have an update, but man, I feel like, I don't know, I wouldn't jump to divorce just yet. I feel like if they've been married for such a long time, I don't know, I feel like I've just heard that happen with married couples where it's just like, you're together for a long time. I think maybe sometimes you just, I don't know, maybe you're growing apart in certain ways, or maybe it's just some sort of like which that can lead to divorce for sure. But I feel like I've heard of it just being a kind of phase in their lives as well.
It totally could be, which is why I think separation would be helpful.
Yeah, maybe.
But it seems like this has been going on for longer than a minute. You know?
Yeah, he said it for like 3 years. It's been happening.
3 years is not just a phase.
Well,
You know?
yeah.
At
Yeah.
that point, it's like that she's lost feelings for him.
We haven't heard a lot about like how their therapy has been going. So I'm
Not
curious
successful.
to hear. We do have an
Yeah.
update
Okay.
and a lot more to the story. So let's see how this goes. All right, so on to the update. One of the main things that is the buzzword of this has been the term resentment. And it has been really eating me up inside knowing my wife keeps telling me she doesn't know why she's resentful or doesn't know why this is affecting her emotionally and mentally. Brought this up with our therapist once again and resurfaced the conversation about being married for so long, 15 years, and being together since we were 14 years old. Oh, wow.
Which, honestly, I think even makes more sense why she's having these feelings. This is the only person that she's ever been
Yeah.
with.
Yeah, no,
Dude, that's so
for sure.
common. It's so common for people to be like, wow, you're the only person I've ever been with.
Yeah, they're only 35 and
Yeah.
having these questions.
Like,
you know?
I think this is super common for people who have only ever had one relationship to realize, wow, I really, not like settled, but
yeah,
I went
didn't,
with
like,
the first
explore-
I didn't, yeah. I haven't
know
explored
anything else.
I don't know anything about love when you're 14.
yeah. Our long history of growing up and how having children when she was 19 years old and me 20 significantly changed the trajectory of our lives. We experienced severe poverty and many hardships in the process, and we essentially had zero social life for the past 10 years because we were so busy raising babies. 2 kids now, ages 12 and 14. She followed up with tons of questions directed mostly at my wife about her feelings towards this, and 90% of the responses were very our kids focused. It definitely felt like she was afraid of saying yes, it sucked, because she would feel guilt or shame because it would imply that she regrets the kids. I mentioned this in the session, and the therapist encouraged her to look at this outside of the lens of being a mother and try to view it a bit more selfishly and individually, and it was very eye-opening. My wife mentioned that she was very frustrated with the fact that we did miss out on many things in life. She also was very clear in saying, I do not think I missed out on other partners or dating or partying, but I certainly lost all my friends. This was huge because one of the big pieces that has caused a strain in our lives is how siloed and isolated we've been. Again, busy raising kids.
Yeah.
I followed up by reminding her that it's important to have good friends and to make time for herself and her friendships. For the past 3+ years, we've had multiple conversations about friends and how it is important to have them in life, especially when you have similar peers that can help in many areas of life that perhaps we have no experience navigating, and even simply for enjoyment. It has always been something my wife avoids, even though she's always been someone who needs that external stimuli. The main reason for her not investing in friends or even herself has always been the kids. Like I mentioned earlier in the post, 90% of the answers have to relate to the kids to some degree. At this point in our session, I started to feel like there was a common denominator, the kids, in most of the frustrations and problems that she was experiencing. So I simply asked her, do you think you may be upset at me because I'm responsible for these kids in the sense that we got children so young in life? I wasn't ready, but she said that she was upset at me for that. She also followed up with the fact that she knows that's unreasonable because it takes two to tango. I did feel like it was progress because it kind of gave us something to work on and help alleviate some of these burdens. So we agreed to invest more time in nurturing good friendships both together and individually. Towards the end of the session, we began to discuss what actionable items we would take from the session. At this point, it was still all very ambiguous and blurry as to what the outcomes were. I was very direct and very forward in asking my wife what her plan is moving forward. Note, I had decided prior to the session that should my wife say the same thing about being a co-parenting roommate, that I would take the 180 approach and essentially do me. She started basically saying the same thing, that she doesn't have any desire to be intimate or spicy related with me as of now, and that she loves me immensely and she feels bad for not being there for me, as mentioned in my first post. I also brought up the brief swinging that happened, to which, for the 50th time, she said it wasn't a problem. I agree with her on this. That was something that was a mechanical approach for a solution to a problem that was very much in existence when we tried this. We both really have no issue to this. We know it happened, we tried it, and mutually stopped and turned the page. I also brought up other life events that may cause resentment, and really, we ended up not getting anywhere else as far as the root for resentment, which was discouraging. I then basically expressed to my wife that I will not be okay with that arrangement. I told her that I've really done everything I can and that this issue really has reached a point where it has nothing to do with me or require me to do anything that I am currently not doing. I was very direct in saying that I will not be accepting this dynamic and that I need to be with someone who is actively involved in our marriage, works towards resolutions, and is very much interested in maintaining an active intimacy and spicy related relationship. However, I made it clear that if this dynamic continues, that divorce will be the only outcome. Of course, tears were involved, and it was a very bleak and sad ending to the session. Still, nothing was said, and I walked out very discouraged and very determined to start working on the 180 as soon as we left the room. It's painful and very difficult because much of the 180 requires you to be very short and cold and transactional. The saddest part is realizing this dynamic already is very cold and transactional. Here is where it gets very interesting.
Ooh.
I started working on implementing many of the 180 recommendations that same day. I mentioned to my wife that, hey, things are going to be a bit different moving forward. I'm going to honor her roommate co-parenting dynamic without reproach, and that it should be no mistake that I am not happy here, and I'm never going to be okay with it, but I am done working on it if she wasn't going to work on it. She agreed and went to bed. I started to build distance and started to basically focus on myself, very short and transactional. She asked for help on some of her personal things, to which I declined, and it really shocked her. She was upset, saying that I was being petulant. I explained to her that she is now fully in charge of her own life and her own issues. We didn't talk all day, and we only spoke when necessary. Few days I keep this going, and she's very visibly upset and stressed. I typically react to that with gestures of help or nurturing, but I didn't this time. That night, she was crying, telling me that she's stressed and she thinks something is wrong with me because I'm, quote, indifferent. I simply listened. Then I told her that this is the dynamic that she proposed and that I'm simply, much like her, taking care of myself and focusing on myself. I'm not going to lie, it has been very hard to be cold and distant because, as I mentioned before, I love her and I wish I could hold her and love on her. However, I know this is somewhat manipulative in a way just to get her way and still keep me in the friend zone. So I've been staying the course. We're not going on a week of this 180, and let's just say there have been many changes on her side. I think she's starting to realize that there is more to me than just friends and co-parenting. I sent her a text a few days ago essentially itemizing bills and separating the financial responsibilities 50-50. And she lost her crap. She basically told me it was out of left field, to which I responded, hey, friends go in 50-50, and as your friend, I expect nothing less. And yeah, especially if they're going to be co-parents too. That would be what that is.
I don't know if I like this.
Yeah? What are you thinking?
It just feels like a roundabout way of separating.
Well, yeah, I think that's kind of his idea.
But
It's
I'm like, why are we, it does feel kind of, like, I don't want to say that it's all on him because it absolutely is not.
yeah.
Like, she is definitely, absolutely in the wrong here.
Uh-huh.
But it does feel kind of petulant. Instead of being like, hey, we're going to, because you want this dynamic, from now on, this is how it's going to be. Let's go down. Like, we're going to be splitting things 50-50.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be helping you on things because, like, having that conversation like an
like
adult,
beforehand,
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah.
it
that
just feels
probably
like
would
he's
help.
like, oh, nah, you want my help?
yeah.
I'm just a friend. I can't help you. Maybe if I were your
Right.
husband, I could. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, I agree. I think maybe a conversation about this stuff before he's doing
Feels
this
immature.
would definitely help.
Yeah.
But I don't think that this approach is like I feel like the approach is definitely it doesn't feel like the worst idea to me. But definitely with the conversation.
I'm like,
feels like
just,
petty.
Just separate. Just divorce.
This was very eye-opening because it gave me a glimpse of how I'm really taken for granted and how her level of comfort and convenience at my expense is really overlooked. Pushed through anyways, and basically told her that this is the new dynamic she asked for and that it's still a bargain because she would have to be 100% if it was on her own. I've noticed that she's making more time for herself aside from being a mom, which is huge because she pretty much neglected herself for years.
That is great, actually.
I'm very pleased seeing her be more herself. My hope is that as we work on ourselves, the marriage improves. There really is no telling at this point where this will go. We are very much cordial and amicable, even to this day, and that's a very good sign. Boundaries are set and expectations are very clear, and I feel that no matter the outcome, I will be at peace with everything that has been done. We're still going to continue the couples therapist until we either rekindle our marriage or end up in divorce. I feel like having this non-biased third party really helps as a witness and as a guide through this. Thank you all for the kind words and recommendations and feedback. This will be my last post on this topic, and I wish you all the best. And there is another update.
Definitely not the last post because this is a long
Yeah,
story.
we're exactly halfway through this story. I don't know. I still have hope for this, honestly.
And you have so much
I have
hope.
so much hope because
oh.
listen, it's like I
Yeah.
kind of feel like
Yeah.
early on in relationships, even
Mhm.
just like a few years in,
Sure.
you know what I mean? Yeah, it's harder to get through things like this. But I've not been married. I haven't been with anyone for 20 years.
Sure.
And I know they're super young, but like I feel like problems I've heard from married people, if I was going through that, I'd be like, bye,
Yeah.
done. But then again, these married, it's different for them. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Because
they've been
they're
together for
married.
so long.
Yeah, and they've been together for so long. And I feel like she has it. I feeling like she's got individual problems, and then she discussed, like not having friends and and that being a thing. Like maybe she is just tired of being around him 24/7.
I think that nothing will change until she figures out who she is. She's been with him since she was 14.
Yeah, very young.
She had kids at 19.
Mm-hmm.
She has never had a chance to figure out who she is as an individual.
Right.
Because from 14 to like 20, I would probably
They're 35 now.
25 or like 28 is when
Yeah.
you figure out who you are.
Yeah, yeah.
That is prime.
It's a big
Like,
part
what
of
is
it.
my personality?
Right.
What do I want to do? Who do I want to be?
Right.
She has not had that time.
We have a whole half
Yeah.
left of this story.
Guys,
So
we got a lot of story left.
very curious how they figure this out. So, update number 2. I debated for a long time on whether to submit an update on this matter. A few significant changes have taken place, and I felt it would be good to not only share with you, but also to allow myself to process all of this in a uniform way. We were almost 9 weeks in on the 180 method I mentioned I was starting, and it started to render some positive reactions from my wife. I explained in the previous posts that she started to notice things that she previously took for granted, started to ask more about my whereabouts, and also started to notice that I would go out with the kids more often without her, and she started to invite herself, which I didn't decline. So much has changed, and it has changed for what seems to be for the better. This past Memorial Day weekend, my wife asked me if I wanted to go out for coffee because she wanted to talk to me about something. This was huge because I can't recall when the last time my wife asked to talk to me about something important. I must admit, I was very nervous and worried about what this could be about, and my mind was racing with the plethora of scenarios of what it could possibly be. Of course, I agreed, and we took some time away from the kids to have this conversation at a local coffee shop. The talk was very constructive in nature. There was a ton of insightful information about herself that helped me further understand where she is in life, both emotionally and mentally. We summarized what the core issues we are encountering are, and she asked me for help. This is new, and I cannot tell you how excited I was hearing something so sincere coming from my wife, who for the last 2+ years has been absent. So after she was through sharing all her thoughts, I proposed a plan that I felt was right for us. This is something that I had been thinking about these last few weeks, and I was planning on bringing this up in a few months if I noticed that things were not changing for the better. This date felt like the right place to share it since it goes hand in hand with what she talked about, and it also relates to the help that she was asking me for. I started by first acknowledging her feelings and concerns. I told her that they are valid and how she feels is personal to her, and that I care that she feels this way because I don't like the thought of her being sad or depressed. I also told her that my goal still is and will always be for us to reconcile and be the happily ever after we vowed to be for each other, and that my love for her is as strong, if not stronger, as it was the day we said I do. I continued the conversation by telling her how I felt about the whole situation, read my previous posts for details, and how it affects me every day. I also clarified some things that she mentioned as she was feeling, because how I have been very distant and monotone, which transactional lately. I explained to her that I was very much trying to protect my feelings and emotions from the rejection and neglect, that it wasn't personal, and that it was simply me safeguarding myself because I cannot control her. I can only control myself. This was a perfect segue to the core of this approach, which is focused on self-accountability. I told her that for the longest time, I was always working hard to make her happy and do things that I knew she enjoyed or wanted. However, I was always met with rejection and disappointment because which caused a load of stress on me. I explained to her that I had to make a change for myself. After all, I can only control myself and make the changes that I want for myself. I mentioned how I was starting to implement new habits and routines that will help edify me, all while still executing all of our shared responsibilities, including parenting, finances, and daily living activities. I explained that the goal is to continue to improve myself both as a husband and a father, learn more, and be healthier, amongst other things.
See, this is what I love.
This is great.
This is the improvement
Yeah.
that they need. Focus on yourselves.
Exactly. I totally agree. She was very receptive to this. She told me that she sees what I'm doing and that she is proud of the changes she has seen. She also told me that she's starting to realize that she feels left behind and that much of the things that have affected her negatively are her own fault. Towards the end of the conversation, which was about 3 hours, there was a very high spirit of reconciliation in the room. I told her that my goal is to ultimately make this work. However, I was very clear that I was not going to live under the current circumstances. I told her that my heart wants her to be happy, even if it means elsewhere, and that I also deserve to be my happy self.
Yes.
I also explained that I do not want our children to grow up thinking that this was okay or normal because they deserve better as well. She told me that she doesn't either. She told me she doesn't know what to do, to which I replied, let's set some clear goals. However, the goals will be for ourselves, not for each other. So here's what we established. We are in charge of our own happiness. The key here is that she's not responsible for making me happy and vice versa. We both need to seek what that personal plan looks like individually. Also, we're both encouraged to include each other in taking those steps if we want, but it's not required. We are in control of our own individual lives and our own journey. This means that we're both responsible in finding the resources necessary to grow, change, and heal. We can definitely help one another when help is requested. However, unsolicited advice or help will not be rendered. We are responsible for communicating. This ensures nothing is left unsaid. If it was never brought up or discussed, it never happened. We are not mind readers, and we need to take ownership when we fail to communicate. I wonder what his job is, because this all feels very like these are like this feels like legal jargon that
Well,
we're
I will say
you
they've
know what
been
I
in
mean?
therapy for 2 years, so
Yeah.
they probably have like
impressive.
the therapy books memorized.
Right,
you know?
right. Make a list of needs and wants. This gives us both clear direction about meeting each other's needs. This also gives us a choice as to what we want or choose to do, compromise on, or decline to do. This list also will not serve as a checklist for accountability. We made it clear that we would not be bringing this list up for the purpose of arguing, and it was up to the other person to use the list as a tool for growth, transparency, or clarification. We concluded that it was up to us to decide if we will be happy doing these things for ourselves because we care, not to simply check a box. This was very important in order to establish long-term habits and not short-term band-aids, because you cannot make someone change or do something that they do not believe is important. Yeah, they've definitely been in therapy a long time. This is crazy. Yeah. We will also establish a deadline, Memorial Day 2025. Whoa. At the end of the conversation, we concluded by setting Memorial Day 2025 as a hard stop to evaluate our lives and our progress. We agreed that we would do this with the clear understanding that we will independently decide if we are happy here. If we determined we aren't happy, we will be getting a divorce. We would also both assume full responsibility for what happened should we get divorced. For example, if needs were not met, it would mean my partner chose not to meet them. This places full responsibility on each other in all areas. The whole process requires that if needs were not met, the next question should be, did we do everything to address this issue? If yes, then we will have a clear conscience of what transpired and know that we left no stone unturned. If, however, we didn't do everything to address the issue, it will mean the issue was not important enough for you or didn't care to meet those needs. This goes both ways in all areas, like everything else. We established that the main motivator for change should be ourselves, and that if we did that, we would in turn begin to see beneficial changes towards each other. The goal is to ensure that everything we are doing for one another to meet each other's needs is being done because we want to do it for our spouse, not because he or she asked. Instead, it was done because I know it makes him or her happy, and I love seeing them happy. I felt it was important to mention to her that we are no longer required to do anything for each other. It is now more of a I want to do these things for each other. Ultimately, I felt the conversation was very positive and productive. Many tears were shed and lots of hugging ensued. I know this doesn't mean or guarantee anything. However, this has never happened before, and I can honestly attribute it to the 180 method. I cannot give any more insight on this method other than it's the only thing that I did different, and something new happened for what seems to be the better. I've decided I will conclude and will refrain from this method moving forward as the plan now has changed. I'm planning to devote myself entirely to not only myself and my growth, but to also work on her needs and wants because I want her to be happy by my side. She said and agreed that she would do the same for herself. We agreed that we would help and build each other wherever we request for it, and that we will be approaching this as a team. And I hope that you approach your favorite podcast app, whether it's Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, whatever you choose, and search OK Storytime, because you are going to find full episodes with more stories just like this one. Wow, and there is a little bit more to this story, but dang, man.
Memorial Day 2025 has passed.
Yeah.
Are they together?
I'm so curious.
Is there an update? Do you think they are?
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm like,
It's because listen,
yeah.
I'm not weeding out divorce.
No, yeah.
It's possible.
You just want them to do everything possible
Exactly.
to prevent. Yes, absolutely.
Exactly.
And
It
that's
seems
fair.
like they're working on it.
I agree.
So
I again, unfortunately, do think that they're doing a great job
yeah.
at being co-parents.
Yeah.
They are doing everything that they can to be effective, you know, in maintaining any sort of relationship.
Yeah.
Like, this is great to do in general.
Right.
But we literally haven't had any conversation about whether or not she's
like
still
emotions
or any change in the conversation of, you know, emotions. And that's
Yeah.
that was his thing. He said, you don't love me, you don't want to
Right.
sleep with me.
Yeah.
I want those things, and if we are at an impasse, then
Yeah.
You know, you can't. There's only so much you can fix in a relationship if you
Right.
don't have those two
Those
things,
feelings.
especially when that's
Yeah.
what he wants.
We do have a little bit more to the story, so I hope we get an answer.
Yeah.
So, as of today, some of the biggest changes I have noticed are her commitment to therapy and mental health. She is taking some antidepressants that are helping her. She is also more confident and in a far better mood more frequently. We have started to explore more ways of intimacy in multiple areas, such as physical touch and words of affirmation. Spicy sleep is starting to make an appearance, which is exciting. Side note, spicy sleep was very, very awkward to start when you've been absent for so long. I can imagine.
Yeah.
We've also started to work out together, which is great, and have lost weight, which is also very exciting. Overall, communication has improved, and I cannot wait to see where this leads. I hope this helps someone out there. I'm still very much interested in your feedback and thoughts on this. You all have been a huge help in giving me hope and insight in this tough journey. Trolls aside, many of you have really been instrumental in my journey, both emotionally and mentally. I will not be providing any more updates until Memorial Day next year. I think it's now time to keep focusing on myself and start working on all the new opportunities that hopefully will arise with my wife. I wish you all the best in your life and your relationships with those you love.
Okay.
Keon, please tell me there's an update. Please.
Please.
So
Oh, is there?
we get something from OP.
Okay.
It says marriage update coming summer 2025.
Stop it! Stop it!
It is summer
But-
2025.
I know. I looked into it. It's a little short thing. I'm going to read it.
Okay.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh,
Okay.
oh my
read it,
gosh.
read it, read it.
I've received many messages asking about an update on how my marriage is going.
Okay.
I'm planning on releasing a final post about this topic in the summer.
I hate you.
Oh my gosh.
Wait,
Oh, okay. Okay. Maybe I don't hate you.
I'll need to figure out what subs to post on, considering some have blocked my updates in the past. Feel free to recommend where they
Post it
where
on
to
OK
cross those.
Storytime.
Yes.
Yes, please.
This is the final tidbit. Thank you for all your kind words of hope and encouragement. I want to encourage you as well to keep fighting for your marriages.
Okay.
Talk soon.
Yes!
Oh my
Freaking like little like movie trailer.
No, literally. This
Okay, so it seems
Wow.
like he's still working on it.
is still working on it.
Which
And maybe he
great.
recommends. Yeah.
I will say it seems like there's been some improvement, especially because they're adding intimacy in different forms
Yeah.
back into their relationship.
Yeah.
So that is a change. I mean,
Yeah.
it seems like she has some sort of attraction, whereas before it seemed like she had none.
Right.
Opie does not give up.
Yeah.
And maybe you know,
props to OP, man.
definitely commend you for that.
For sure.
Maybe that will, be successful.
Yeah. My wife said she loved me less and less after we had an argument.
Dang, what was the argument about?
And this comes directly from the r/OK Storytime subreddit.
Oh, brother.
I am 32 male and my wife is 30 female. We have 4 kids, ages 6, 2, 1, and 1. My wife stays at home with children, but also works part-time as a home health nurse for about 10 hours a week. She calls this her break from the kids and her way of contributing to the household. I completely support this because I understand how difficult it is to be with them constantly. By the way, this comes from Rabid Pikachu, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. And OP says, it also allows me to spend mornings with the children a couple times a week since my work days are usually 10 to 12 hours Monday through Friday, and I often don't see them before bedtime. I work weekends sporadically so we can pay all the bills, and I've recently started taking 1 to 2 online classes per semester, hoping to go to med school once our twins start kindergarten in 4 years. My wife is incredibly hardworking. She keeps the house spotless, does laundry, washes dishes, changes sheets weekly, organizes everything, puts away toys, feeds the kids, manages naps and baths, and ensures our 6-year-old always has hot breakfast and a packed lunch. She's amazing at keeping everything together. My wife also struggles with PTSD, depression, and anxiety due to severe childhood trauma. Without going into detail, she suffered multiple kinds of mistreatment from her mother, father, and biological father. She currently sees a psych NP who prescribed medication that seems to help, plus a counselor whose appointments she has been skipping. We also attend couples counseling together. While her struggles have influenced our relationship in what often feels like a negative way, they have sent her in the complete opposite direction as a mother. Oh, wow. She is full of love, understanding, and concern for our children, determined never to let them experience what she went through. Oh, I see. Opposite from what her parents were like.
Yeah.
Last night, we attended a couples counseling session that went off the rails. Started well. She was feeling overwhelmed because I had to attend a 3-hour biology lab on Saturdays. I told her I completely understood and wanted to make sure that she got time to rest and recover. I asked one of my friends if his wife and my wife could go out Saturday nights so she could get a break and have adult time. He thought it was a great idea and said that he could come over with the girls so we could hang out and watch the kids together. I also suggested my wife take as much of Sunday as she wanted to work out, relax, or practice self-care. She appreciated this and even became teary-eyed, which made me teary-eyed too. The counselor then asked me what I wanted to talk about since I had mentioned something was on my mind. This is when I may have screwed up. I told her I was struggling with how to bring it up because when I raise concerns, I often feel shut down, unheard, and like it almost always ends in a fight. I explained that I didn't want to make her day harder than it already was, and I understood how much she does, but I would like to impose screen time limits on the kids because I didn't feel like 4 to 5 hours of daily screen time was healthy for them. I would agree with that.
I agree with that, but I don't know, parents, tell me in the comments, you kind of have to trick the kids, I think.
In what way?
Because it's like you can impose like the limits, but it's like then there's going to be this like fiendish resentment over it where it's like, well, how do I get past, how do I
Like
get beyond the
sneak
limit?
it.
How do I break the rules? How do I get more time?
Interesting.
Instead, you just need to like trick the kids into being like, this isn't even cool.
Yeah, like you
You
don't
know
even
what's
want that.
really cool?
Yeah,
Dirt
right.
and sticks
Yeah,
and playing pretend
yeah.
because,
That stuff is
you
cool.
know, whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, they are young. I mean, their oldest is 6 years old. So hopefully they're not at like the regular user point of like fiending over it in that
well,
way.
it's when you get them when they're
but-
little, it's like, we still don't know. We're literally all the trial run of what these screens and how much time we spend on them does to us.
Yeah.
No one knows yet.
Well, we
Uh,
can see that it's pretty bad though.
My kid's getting a Nokia brick
There you go.
and he can play Snake.
There you go.
That's about it.
Nice. But she lost it. She began talking about how much she has to do every day and how everything would not get done without screens. I told her I was okay with things not being perfect and that if I needed to wake up earlier or stay up later to help, I would. She said I didn't understand what she goes through and that it seemed like I was trying to make her life harder, which is exactly his worry. The counselor interjected and told her that based on what I had said, it did sound like I understood and was simply seeking a conversation. She snapped at him and then turned back to me and demanded that I provide activities to replace screen time on the spot. I suggested sensory activities, but admitted that I would need to research better alternatives. I proposed that we could research together. She told me that if I was demanding changes, then I needed to do the research myself. I clarified that I wasn't demanding, but asking for her input and collaboration on what was best for our kids. She told me that I needed to take care of them all weekend without screens to prove how hard it was. The counselor asked what her motivation was and if she just wanted to make me feel pain and to make a point. She outright said yes, and that was exactly what she wanted because clearly I didn't understand.
Dang.
Yeah.
Do you really want iPad kids that bad?
Right.
He's not even saying no screens ever again. He's just like a limit.
Right.
Something, anything. We literally, we spent 5 minutes talking about it and we workshopped like 2 great ideas. Actually, well,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
it was really,
Well,
it was
just
your,
playing
yeah.
outside is a great idea.
Yeah, well, I guess, and then she can't watch them if they're outside, so I guess that makes blah,
Sure,
blah,
but I
blah.
mean, maybe just playing itself. I mean, okay, card games, board games, sports.
Yeah.
Playing pretend,
He's-
reenacting
yeah.
their
Yeah,
favorite movie.
Back
you
in
know?
my day, we had to use our imagination.
Yeah.
Yeah, or we have toys that aren't screen time. Legos, that's a good one.
He's just
Well, they're
looking
little.
for a conversation about how to do this, and she's like, fine, do it all yourself, fine.
Exactly.
And it's like,
yeah,
she's doing that in therapy. Imagine what it's like when they're
Right.
not in therapy.
I know. Yeah, it's not a good way to treat a partnership. The conversation went back and forth with me growing more frustrated, but no resolution came. This morning, she texted me, I realized that instead of loving you more with time, I love you less. Still love you, but less. And I know it's been a coping mechanism for me. Of all the bottled up things, I don't know what to do with that. This marriage feels like a business. I briefly responded, asking if we could discuss it later because I couldn't handle that conversation over text while I'm at work. My work performance has been affected before during arguments, resulting in poor performance and even a write-up. I set a boundary asking her not to send me these things while I'm at work, but she has never respected this boundary and repeatedly violates it. For context, I'm a speech language pathologist. Throughout my undergrad and my master's program, I saw how detrimental excess screen time was for both neurotypical and neuroatypical kids. I've read and sent her studies on screen time's effects on children under 2 and 3, the long-term issues it can cause, how it increases ADHD incidence, and how children with excess screen time often struggle when they start school. She doesn't dispute any of the research. Our 6-year-old is my stepson. I met him when he was 3. At that time, I noticed he was on his iPad almost all day and often until 1 or 2 in the morning while she slept next to him. At age 3, he had maybe 20 words.
Yeah, no,
Like,
that's insane.
that
Letting your
is bad.
2-year-old stay on an iPad until 2 in the morning?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
bad parenting. You are being a bad
Right.
parent.
He was later diagnosed with moderate to severe speech language delay after I expressed concern and had a friend test him. After receiving services, he caught up some, but he still struggles with speech and reading. Unfortunately, he no longer qualifies for services because he just barely misses the cutoff, both privately and through school. He has difficulty sustaining attention and often forgets instructions. We are fairly certain he has ADHD, but he must be 7 before he can be tested and diagnosed. At the time, my wife was a young single mom, and we can't know what we don't know. I don't blame her for these issues. If I'm being honest, though, I do think the excess screen time, which I measured at upwards of 10 hours a day,
Oh my God.
made things worse. I don't think screens caused the problems entirely, but they definitely exacerbated what he may have been predisposed to. So I have to ask, am I the a-hole for asking my wife to reduce the kids' screen time? And there is an edit, because I think we just know that the answer is no. Definitely not the a-hole. We're on your side.
You're not the a-hole for that.
Yeah, there is an edit. I wanted to clarify a few things since people kept asking. I work primarily with adults as an SLP. Most of my patients are psychiatric patients, dementia patients with behaviors, and adults with developmental disabilities. Being the only male SLP on my team, I usually get the more aggressive or tougher cases. I do this for 10 to 12 hours daily, often split between 2 facilities. On weekends, I commute to facilities 45 to 60 minutes away. It's mentally and emotionally exhausting. My typical day starts between 6 and 7 a.m. A couple of times a week, I get up at 7 and help with breakfast, school prep, and bath. 2 to 3 mornings a week, I wake up at 6 with the kids so my wife can sleep. I get the oldest to school, prepare hot breakfast, pack lunches, and handle everything. Every day my wife doesn't work. She also gets an hour-long workout while I'm with the littles. I leave for work around 9 or 10, depending on her workout. Most mornings, I spend 3 to 4 hours with the kids. Once I leave, I work until about 9 p.m., then do paperwork. When I get home, I try to help by folding laundry, picking up toys, or meal prepping. My wife is extremely against daycare. While I'm not as opposed, I fully support her decision since it's important to her. We do have a house cleaner come every 2 weeks to help with the load. Recently, my wife took a vacation to California and I stayed home with the kids for 4 days. I took paid time off for 2 days and managed them all weekend long. During that time, they had no screens and they were healthy, happy, and well fed. It was hard, but I managed, which only reinforced my belief that reducing screen time is possible.
Yeah.
To be clear, I am not advocating for 0 screen time. I understand it can give her a break or help her get things done, but 4 to 5 hours daily feels excessive. I'm seeking compromise,
Yeah.
and there is an update, but that just seems so weird to me, her thought process.
It feels like it's something else. There's more stuff. I would look more into like that message she sent about it where it's like, this is starting to feel more like a business relationship.
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like, I've read stuff where it's like you're in a long-term relationship, you have kids and all this stuff. Like, there's periods of disillusionment in a relationship where it's like things that, maybe you used to like about somebody. Now you're like, they just like upset you. But that's not like necessarily a permanent. It's more like there's a flux and a flow
Totally.
to those kind of things. And it's like not always going to be like the most perfect thing you've ever experienced in your whole life, always.
Right.
So I think fundamentally, if she's approaching every single thing like it's a battle or a war between the two of you.
Right. Or not a partnership, which she seems to not be doing in therapy. Like,
Yeah.
that seems like that's contributing to a business feeling.
Yeah, dude, she's literally snapping at the therapist in therapy.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild.
But we do have an update. So hopefully they find a solution. I'm really rooting for them. So, update. My wife and I haven't really talked, but I tried to take as much advice as I could from the responses. The overwhelming opinion seems to be that I'm the a-hole, and I can accept that. Interesting. I appreciate all the feedback, especially responses that helped me gain more clarity into her trauma and the reasons behind her behavior and reactions. For the last 2 days, I have been waking up around 4 or 4:30 a.m. and just trying to clean the house. I've been working on tackling whatever I see needs to be done. Dishes, folding laundry, putting it away, running loads of laundry, animal care as we have 3 dogs and a cat, taking out trash, picking up toys, cleaning the playroom. Today was also my wife's long workday. Thursdays, I only work 8 to 9 hours and head in around noon, so I had plenty of time to spend with the boys and get housework done. I'm proud to say that everything was pretty spotless when I finished. I started watching YouTube videos on how my wife folds laundry. She makes these little parcels out of onesies, towels, pants, baby shirts, sheets, etc. For pajamas, the parcels hold pants and a shirt. And for the sheets, they hold fitted sheet, flat sheet, and pillowcases. I'll be honest, I couldn't figure out the sheets in the slightest, but I was able to figure out everything else.
There's nothing harder to fold than a freaking fitted sheet, dude.
Yeah,
I hate it. And my mom has showed me a dozen times how it works, and I still can't do it.
Before I left her with no laundry, no dishes, no animal chores, no need to take trash out, and I was able to bathe 1 out of the 3 kids who were home. And by the way, I hope that you are able to listen to full episodes with more stories just like this one on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, or whatever your favorite podcast app is. Just search OK Storytime. But there is a little bit more to the story. I'm going to try to make this consistent. Every day I will look around for things to do while I'm at home. It does take some time away from my kids, and there's a lot of stopping and starting because they don't have screens to occupy them when I'm home. But I felt good about managing to spend a couple hours with them playing and learning, and then letting them free play when I continued chores. A lot was already done because I woke up early. Currently, the Cold War is still ongoing. What? Oh, with the wife. Okay.
Oh my
I was like,
gosh.
how old was Reddit? Like, how old is this Reddit story? I tried to speak with her the night before last, but with both of us being tired, we got extremely irritated and the conversation quickly ended. I'm hoping actions will speak louder than words, and sometime soon we can have a conversation and find a healthy compromise involving the screen time issue. Regardless, I'll continue tackling any chores I see need doing at home. And that's the end of that story. That's all we get. What?
You've done what you can. You're doing what you can. Hopefully she'll come around. I think she can't be skipping her own counseling sessions if she has individual. I know that was back all the way at the beginning of that story.
Right.
But she can't be skipping out on her own counseling session.
That's important. That's very important.
My wife wants to replace our deceased dog, but she can't even take care of herself.
Yeah, you might want to start with that first. There's going to be a trigger warning for this video for an acute depressive episode. Just putting that out there. If you can't hear a description of that, I would not listen to this.
Me, 36, male, and my wife, together 14 years, married for 12. My wife, 36, female, has always struggled with depression. In 2011, she witnessed her mother's passing. She was diagnosed with PTSD and was in therapy for about a year afterwards, which she said she found very helpful. Last summer, she went to see the same therapist wanting help with the depression, but did not find it helpful that time. She told me the doctor seemed boring and dismissive of her rich people problems. Ooh.
Oh.
She stopped going after that about 6 weeks. By the way, this comes from user WifeDogTA, and if you want to submit your stories, go to the OK Storytime subreddit. I am Savannah.
I'm Dakota.
And we're here to give you some good advice goofily, but that doesn't mean we have all the answers. We're just going to give our opinion on what we do, but we'd love to know what you would do in the comments. As OP says, in August of 2016, we adopted an older dog from a shelter, Rex. Because I work long hours and have a long commute, and my wife works a flexible schedule at home, Rex was primarily her responsibility. She told me at the time that she felt like the dog had cured her mental health issues, and it did seem like that from the outside. While we had him, she had no depressive episodes and was generally happier and less sensitive. The most obvious thing was that she slept better, as both the depression and the PTSD had messed up her sleep. At the beginning of September this year, Rex passed away.
No.
My wife has totally fallen apart
Uh.
in a way similar to a depressive episode for about a month now. Not sleeping, not eating / binge eating, doesn't want to get up or shower or get dressed, disinterested in everything, not doing any cooking, shopping, housework. I haven't said anything about that last part, but we usually split the chores in a very specific way. Certain ones are hers and certain ones are mine, and I've been struggling to do them all when I come home, so the house is a bit of a wreck. Her main client, who provides the majority of her work and income, actually fired her because apparently she was making lots of promises and not delivering on any of the work. She told me this kind of offhandedly and didn't seem to care. She only talks about 2 things, Rex and getting a new dog. She believes that if we got a new dog, she would be fine again. I want that to be true, obviously, and I'd happily get a new dog if that's the case, but part of me feels like she needs to process her grief and get her work life and her mental health under control first. I'm afraid of leaving her alone with a new pet that needs to be cared for and eased into its new home when she can barely get out of bed and feed herself. My schedule doesn't really allow for me to take care of a dog properly if she's not able to do it right away. I haven't really told her how I feel yet, even though she talks a lot about wanting a new dog. She hasn't pushed for us to actually get in that car and go to the shelter yet. I think in part because getting dressed and going outside feels like an ordeal that she avoids in general. So it's not like we're fighting about it or anything, but I can't tell if I'm prolonging her suffering by not getting her a dog, if it will indeed fix everything, or if getting a new dog is as bad as an idea as it feels to me right now. I'd really appreciate some outside input. There is an edit here. Just to clarify a few things, I definitely want to get us a new dog sooner than later, and I do believe it will help my wife just like Rex did. However, as a user guest, when we got Rex in 2016, my wife had her issues fairly under control. She had a bad day here and there, trouble sleeping and organizing her time, and chose to go see her old therapist, but was totally functional and overall enjoyed life. Notably, her bad days never affected her work. She knew how to prioritize and let other stuff slide first / ask for my help. And when necessary, she was able to explain to her clients some version of what was happening and why she needed more time, and always got the work done in a reasonable time frame. Which is to say, Rex was a huge help, but starting from a place where I had no concerns about her ability to take care of a dog. In 14 years, I have only seen her have one other episode this bad that lasted this long. I was honestly really alarmed by what happened with her biggest client. I think they would have been understanding if she told them what was happening or referred them to someone else, but she instead kept promising she'd get it done, and then she'd stop answering their emails until they fired her. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the solution here is maybe not like because that user is right. It's like now is not the time to get the
Yeah.
next dog. I think that can happen down the line, but it's like she needs like acute mental health, like
Yeah.
therapy assistance, like of some kind.
Like, I know there's like emotional support animals. Like, obviously, there are like animals in training specifically for those things, but unfortunately, animals aren't forever. So you do have to do your part as
Right.
well as just like, you can't put everything on this. And then once that's gone, then it's like, I'm lost. Then you're in a worse position.
It's
in
just
my opinion.
it would be a gamble to get like a new puppy or a new dog right now that she would be taken care of, and yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just it's a mental health specialist,
Yeah, I agree.
new therapist.
Yes. It's not that I don't want her to have a dog. I'm just concerned about getting one right at this moment when she doesn't seem able to care for one. And I'm definitely not able to do it for a long time while she gradually works up to it. Both because of my work schedule and because I'm pretty burned out and exhausted from taking care of her and the house, and now becoming essentially our sole source of income. We live in a condo in the city with no yard, and my wife loves large breed dogs. Rex was huge. Which means it's not as simple as letting the dog outside, and it's hard to do it in baby steps. My wife would have to regularly take the dog some distance away to find green space and go on long walks / jogs as she did with Rex. And I'm worried about what a big change that will be. All that said, I've read and appreciate all of your comments, and I messaged my wife to suggest we go to the shelter on Friday evening and see if there's a dog that's right for us. I can take Monday and Tuesday off of work, so at least we'll all be together for 4 days/nights, which is hopefully enough time to see if it's something my wife can handle right now or not. The shelter lets you bring a dog back if it's not a good fit, and they convert your adoption fee to a donation. And if the dog turns out to be as stabilizing as most of you suggest, then I can talk to my wife some more about therapy or other long-term solutions when she's in a place to hear that. Thank you again for your input. I feel like that's good.
I like this.
Yeah.
I like this.
He's being very, like, patient and caring about it. He wants to see his wife in a good headspace, but he also knows that she, like, this is going to help her, but you also do need to do the work yourself.
Yeah, you got to be patient and caring, because very seldom we'll just, like, the iron fist of, like, you need therapy. You can't have a dog. Like, that's not going to help her.
Yeah. That's going to make her go back into her
You
shell.
got to be gentle.
You got to finesse.
Got to be a little gentle with it.
So we have some comments. Comment number 1. Emotional support animals are increasingly being recognized as a valuable treatment for people with mental health issues. They work. It's a real thing. Your wife obviously needs other help as well, but she has clearly found an animal helpful and didn't have problems meeting your previous pet's needs. I don't really see why another dog wouldn't help. I do want to emphasize that just getting a dog isn't a catch-all fix to everything, though. She also needs to find a psychologist she can work with on an ongoing basis. There are lots out there, and not everyone is a good fit. It can take a few tries. And seeking at least a consult with a psychiatrist would probably be helpful, too. I agree. I think that that's perfect.
Agreed.
Comment number 2. Are you feeling a bit resentful that your wife can get herself together for an animal but not for you? Oh.
Did not read that at all.
Yeah, no, that wasn't what I thought was in the cards. That would be a very valid way to feel. When she's functioning better, you can tell her that you need her support as well as being there to support her. But it's because animals don't know what's going on and can't look after themselves, but still respond positively to people. And that makes them so valuable for mental health care.
Okay.
Yes.
Sure. Don't think that he's at all jealous of an animal. No.
I don't think that at all.
Don't think that at all.
There's an update. Oh, this is not a happy update.
No.
Oh, no.
Okay, everyone get ready.
This is not a happy update. As everyone advised, we adopted a new dog that weekend, an 18-month-old yellow lab, Spot. When we met her in the shelter yard, she was sweet and playful with us and the shelter volunteers. I made sure to be very upfront with the adoption counselor with all of our limitations. We live in a condo without a yard. All our neighbors have dogs, / our neighborhood is filled with dogs. Our only experience is with Rex, an easygoing older dog. We have lots of little kids in our extended family who like to visit. They assured us we'd do fine with Spot. She did great in her behavioral assessments at the shelter. She lived with dogs, cats, and small children previously, and the previous owner said she loved the dog park. Well, it's been just under a month, and Spot is a nightmare, and not at all how she was described. My wife has definitely come out of her depressive episode, but she is drowning trying to work on all of Spot's myriad behavioral problems. I took off more time from work to take Spot to a professional trainer, and after 3 sessions, the trainer said he baffled. By the way,
even the professional trainers, like, I don't know what to do about this dog. It's like it doesn't even know how to speak dog.
yeah, that's
crazy.
that the trainer was like, I'm baffled by this. Speaking of being baffled, we have a baffling amount of episodes that you can listen to. Full stories just like this if you go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, or your favorite place where you have listened to podcast things. Just search OK Storytime.
Yeah.
There is another relevant update, but let's discuss. The trainer...
Yeah, sometimes owning a dog is hard.
Yeah. And sometimes you think that it's going to work out, and then they are a nightmare, and it's really hard to train, and every dog is different. Like, just because, there are specific breeds that, people are like, oh, this breed is smart, this breed is dumb, this breed is this breed's that. They also have very many different personalities. They are people.
Yes. They are little personalities in a dog body.
Yeah. So we do have a little bit more of this. So... a different trainer from a different organization is coming to our house this weekend. But to me, Spot seems straight up dangerous. And she, has to go back. It's a no unalive shelter. So this isn't an unethical choice, though obviously we've made Spot worse from whatever we've been doing / not doing, and it will traumatize her to be abandoned a second time. I agree, that's all our fault. And we're the worst. You don't need to tell me.
Hey,
I mean, I wasn't going to say that, but sure.
I don't think you're the worst. I think that it didn't work out with the dog.
Yeah.
Couldn't have anticipated that. You wanted it to work out. It's been months.
Yeah.
It's not like it was a week.
Yeah. You put in the hard time and work and it just didn't work out, and that's
Yeah.
unfortunate. My wife agrees that Spot needs to go back, but she is also beating herself up about it, saying clearly she is unfit to have dogs at all.
No.
Ever. She's the worst dog owner ever,
No.
and after we take Spot back, she never wants another.
No! No!
Dang it. So it did backfire. I'm sorry. This could have went so many ways, and I'm sad that it went in the not good way.
Yeah, come on. It's not. You just try to tell her it's not about you being a bad owner. It's about Spot just being a peculiar little creature.
I asked her then what she intends to do about her depression, and she repeated that Rex was the only thing that ever helped, but that she'd make the effort in other ways, therapy, exercise, etc. Advice, please? And there are some comments. Comment number 1. P.S. I'll add that I volunteer at a shelter, and it's not uncommon for pets to come back. The shelter would rather that happen than have everyone involved, including the pet, be unhappy in the wrong situation. So seriously, don't feel too guilty. I agree with that.
Yeah, that's really not that big of a deal.
Yeah. A reply, my local shelter even has a policy where within 2 weeks you can bring a dog back and adopt another without paying the fee again for this exact reason. They want people to adopt the right dog. Comment 2, this sucks.
Yeah. Yes, it does.
You're right, comment 2. And I'm flabbergasted that the shelter seemed to think a young yellow lab would be happy in a condo with no yard. Those dogs are big, very active, and 18 months is around the time they typically test their owner's dominance. That's true.
Dang. So yeah, you got bad advice from the shelter.
Yeah. There is a reply. Yeah, this is on the shelter, frankly. OP and wife need to adopt an older dog. I agree. Actually older. Like at least 5 or 6 years. Another reply, people really do need to consider the breed and not just the size. There are high and low energy dogs at both ends of the size range. People can't just pick one that scales to the amount of physical space they have. And that's literally the end.
And
what?
that is the end of that.
Oh, well, I hope that you brought Spot back, and maybe I agree with the last reply. I think an older dog might be better suited for you guys
Yeah.
if you actually needed and wanted a dog. I think the older the dog, the better.
Yeah.
Because then they're on like your kind of wavelength too, and they don't require much.
And just, be gentle with your wife. Hey, look, I'm show her these comments being like, I work in a shelter. It's not a weird thing to have to take a dog back. You're not terrible people. I think it is concerning how linked up your wife's mental health is with like a dog being present in the home or being able to take care of a dog or owning a dog. I think that needs to be addressed in a more realistic or a more just a healthier, direct way where it's like, let's get to the root of the issue and like start to address it in a way that's not dependent on something outside of us and start from within ourselves.
Yeah.
My grandmother demanded to talk to me after I cut off my parents.
If you didn't cut your grandma off, we can talk to her, right?
I guess, once removed. I just received the text of my grandma asking me to talk, so I'm definitely not calm right now. My apologies in advance. For context, my grandma and grandpa divorced when I wasn't even born, and I don't know any better than my grandpa being together with his now wife. I see her as family, but I have never called her grandma. This matters to me in this context because it feels extra inappropriate that she is even talking to me about this. By the way, this comes from user professionalfly3246, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
I'm Carly.
I'm Keon.
And we are here to give you good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we would do, so if you would do something different, let us know in the comments. As OP says, I just received a text from her asking me to talk. So I am definitely not calm right now. My apologies in advance. For context, my grandma and grandpa divorced before I was born, so I've only ever known my grandpa with his now wife. I see her as family, but I've never called her grandma. That matters because it makes it feel extra inappropriate that she's talking to me about this. OP is repeating themselves here a little bit, but we're going to keep going. She's a very intelligent person, and I generally like her a lot, but she's stubborn and always thinks she's right. This makes her insert herself into situations where she wants to fix things as if she's some sort of objective peacemaker. She has very strong opinions and tends to act like she has all the answers. By the way, this is my grandpa on my dad's side. For context, my grandma and grandpa divorced before I was born. I've only ever known my grandpa with his now wife. I see her as family, but I've never called her grandma, which matters because that makes it feel extra inappropriate that she's talking to me about this. So it's the step grandma.
Yeah.
My relationship with my parents, especially my mom, has always been difficult. I won't go into a long story, but basically my mom is emotionally immature, and ever since I was little, I've had to take care of her and her emotions. I never learned to take care of myself emotionally because I was hyper vigilant to her feelings, making sure she was okay. When my parents fought, I was the mediator. It's always been a roller coaster. There are periods where we get along well. We laugh together, and she's there for me. But then there are periods when everything revolves around her, talking about the mother now. During those times, I feel completely unseen and invalidated. She has threatened to hurt herself or gone to bed crying, which makes me feel guilty and reinforces my role as her emotional caretaker, where I end up neglecting myself. When I moved out, I felt overwhelmed returning home. My parents and sister have since admitted they were relieved when I left again, without acknowledging how drained I felt every time I visited them. I literally started feeling like an outsider in my own family and still feel like it's 3 against 1. I've been dating my girlfriend for 3.5 years. In the first year, everything was fine between her and my parents. They even liked each other. But after that, my mom started up her usual behavior again, especially when my girlfriend was around. It was hard to address at first because I carry endless guilt and shame, wanting everyone to be happy and feeling responsible for everyone and everything. I distanced myself from my mom without much explanation, which I know wasn't fair. I tried to have conversations to improve things, always giving a million disclaimers. I know she's not a bad person. I love her. I understand her, but nothing worked. It always escalated, leaving me disappointed and sad. Eventually, I initiated a period of no contact for the second time. I would love to reconnect. It sucks not having my parents in my life, but every attempt ends up making things worse. My girlfriend doesn't want to engage unless my parents truly change. Our last dinner together was horrible. Now, my grandpa's wife texted me. She responded a bit to my questions about how she and my grandpa were doing, and then suddenly said, "I heard you went no contact with your parents," immediately judging it as not okay, selfish, and harmful for all parties involved. She insisted on making an appointment to talk, either with just me or with me and my girlfriend. She suggested my grandpa wouldn't be involved because he's too old for petty arguments.
Why is Grandma Button in here?
Well, I don't know, because you look, I get that she's not your biological
It's weird to me
paternal
because
grandma, but
the only grandparents that I have that I ever knew were divorced and remarried. So I had a grandma that wasn't my grandma, and I didn't call her grandma. I called her Donna, but she was my grandma still. So it's weird to see the perspective of when it goes wrong.
Yeah, I had multiple as well.
born.
I had a grandma, I had Grandy, and I got Nana, and that was remarried 4 times, once to the same woman.
Once to the same one?
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't know some of the ones before me, but the one from right before me.
But yeah, I feel like that she's doing this because it's a lot of elders in the family do take the role of peacemaker. I know that they already said, kind of if you think she's the peacemaker, well, it's yeah, whatever. First, it feels very strange that she's positioning herself as the savior. Second, why would I want to talk to someone who immediately made painful assumptions without knowing my side? I know my parents have not given her the full picture because they've consistently shown they do not understand, no matter how hard I've tried to explain. They play the victim and refuse accountability. I truly don't see what talking would accomplish. I'm mad, honestly. Am I the a-hole here? And there is an update. I don't know.
I don't think you are. If you went no contact for seemingly pretty valid reasons, I mean, as long as, you can go no contact
Yeah.
for any reason, but she's coming at you right away. I don't think you need to have a conversation with her.
It's really your choice, and if the vibe isn't like, oh, let's work out like what's got us upset and just get to whatever conclusion that is, it's more like, well, we're gonna work out whatever's wrong, and then you're gonna reconnect.
Like, why aren't you talking to her?
Doesn't seem like you're going to be validated at all there. But we have an update. Here are the translations of text I call my, I guess, Grandma G. Grandma, I deleted the beginning of the message because it was about something else. I do want to mention that I had an accident last week, which she also responded to, making it even wilder that she sent this in the same message. Something completely different, OP. We recently heard from your parents that you no longer have contact with them. Sorry to say it, but whatever happened, that's a very strange move. Unnecessary and extremely unkind. Not a good look, OP. I think it would be good to talk about this sometime. Let's make an appointment. Just you and me, or you, girlfriend, and me. Your grandfather should stay out of it. He's too old for these kinds of unnecessary conflicts. It would be much better for everyone involved if things could just go back to normal, so let us know and let's put an end to this nonsense. Love, Grandma and Grandpa. Hi, Grandma. I really don't appreciate you inserting yourself into a situation that's between Mom, Dad, and me and no one else. And definitely not in this way. There's no reason for me to want to talk about this with someone who already judges the situation before hearing my side, or who thinks they know exactly what's going on. It's not up to you to decide what's unnecessary or unkind. I'd appreciate it if you stayed out of it and let us handle it ourselves. We're all adults. Thanks in advance. I felt a little foul, my guy. I don't know.
Coming back a little hard, yeah.
Grandma says, go ahead, but then actually do something about it. OP sent a emoji and then said, will you say the same thing to Mom and Dad? Meaning that I know she's only lecturing me and not the people causing the issues, LOL. And there's a second update.
I don't know. I feel like one calm conversation with you and Grandma, maybe a phone call so things can't be misinterpreted over text.
Yeah.
Just to be like, hey, here's where I'm coming from. Already have been no contact one time before. This is my second time doing it. Like, I'm really feeling like this is what it has to be. Here's the reasons. That's that.
Yeah. And I think if you can't really, sit down and with a level head and, composed demeanor, explain to someone like your grandma, like exactly why, or I guess not your grandma, your grandpa's wife, since you don't call her grandma. No, she said she doesn't.
In those texts, she called her grandma.
And she called her G. Whatever. OP, look, I'm sensing that maybe we're a little possessed by our emotions, which is fine, but when our emotions have control over us, we don't have control over ourselves. So, I don't know. Update number 2, okay? The first message was sent by me because I wanted to set a firmer boundary, and then 2 messages by my grandpa. I only received them yesterday night, and I haven't fully processed any of it, so I am in no state to respond, and advice is super welcome. I did talk to my girlfriend about it so that I could vent, and here are a few thoughts I have about it. My grandpa, quote, didn't want to be involved, yet 1, the message was sent in a group chat that he's a part of. 2, my dad is his son, not his wife's. And 3, he spent at least an hour and a half typing all of this, which is a lot of effort for someone who wants to be left out of this nonsense. Their words. He spent a lot of time being offended about how I talked to his wife, claiming that he thought I knew them better and that I should have known how she meant what she said. This made me so pissed off right off the bat, because if you read the original messages, it was his wife who approached me without an ounce of respect, and I think my initial response to her was way calmer and more polite than she deserved. The second one, even more so. I hate it when people attack your tone or response to something they did wrong. I apparently should have also just known that the intervention was not initiated by them, but it was discussed with my parents first. He spent a lot of time being offended about this as well, because how could I have thought that they would just insert themselves? 1, maybe mention that you talked to my parents and discussed this, and 2, I'm sure they didn't hold you hostage. Like, come on, you could have used some critical thinking and come to the conclusion it was not a good or appropriate idea to get involved. And 3, I think I've been very clear in emphasizing that it was about the way they approached this, lacking respect, compassion, etc. Another thing that apparently offended or hurt them, are you guys also noticing the pattern of playing the victim, or is the fact that it's so hard for them to be between a son and a granddaughter that are not on good terms? Okay, boo-hoo. If it's already so hard for you, then imagine how hard it is for me, and maybe put your own feelings aside for a bit. The point that he was trying to make is that my parents don't understand why I chose to go no contact, and they don't know what they have to do to make it right. And they are basically saying that that's why the ball is in my court, because I owe it to them to communicate and explain myself.
Yeah, there you go. You don't, again,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Well, I guess it just depends. It's not that you owe it, but it's about what do you want? Do you want a path forward where the thing is, I mean, you said that you
But the
did. You like, it'd be
grandparents-
nice if I could have a relationship with my parents.
Right.
So if
the
you do want that, they have to know what they did wrong or what they would need to do to improve. They would, if you want that.
They've already done it once, though. This is their second time no contact. I
Sure.
feel like it very well, like, grandparents should have respected if they wanted to just say, like, don't want to talk about it. That should have been an option to be the end of it, which maybe it would have been if he said that. But
And I guess none of this is about like what should be done or what is right. It's just about what does OP want? What do you want from this? Do you want a path forward, or do you just want the door to stay closed and locked? Like, what
I
do
agree
you
with
want?
Darth Jader, though. I also have a hard time thinking that they don't actually know what the parents have done.
I don't
They
know.
have to have seen that.
Or do they all live together?
Family gatherings, though.
It depends.
I don't even think OP lives with parents, so I feel like they would all cross paths at some point together. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Well, this is the part that really drove me absolutely nuts. Because, yeah, if you put it like that, I can understand why someone might be on their side. If I just randomly decided to stop talking to them for no apparent reason, that would in most cases make me an absolute witch. However, if my parents, after all of these years, still don't know what they did wrong and what they can do to make it right, then that's really not on me anymore. I've had countless attempts at conversations with them. Sometimes they even claim to understand me, and it really baffles me when they can still claim they don't know what's going on. I think this is an incredibly convenient position to take, victimhood again, and I can see why that makes my grandpa and his wife resent me. I just thought they were more emotionally intelligent than this, but apparently not. The rest of his messages are just full of audacity and entitlement and disrespect, honestly. They communicated all sorts of expectations they now have of me, and they even said that they would not talk to me until I fix this. This is highly freaking manipulative and inappropriate. But joke's on them, I'm not a child anymore, and this doesn't get to me that much anymore. If they want to do it like this, they can have it. This is really not going to make me take my boundaries back. All it does is that they will lose one of their grandchildren. I'm at a crossroad with what to do next. I kind of don't want to waste any more energy on this, and I'm also old enough to mostly know who I am. I know I am entitled to my boundaries, my peace, and I should not have to justify myself. Still, I feel very strongly about the injustice, and it's incredibly hard for me to not want to put people in their place. It's kind of all or nothing now for me. It's either, okay, your loss, or I would want to go hard and tell them everything, just to make them really think about what they did. I don't know. Maybe people are going to come at me for like not being on OP's side here, but I feel like that's probably a misrepresentation of what they meant to say. Because these are senior citizens.
I think it was also
They text in
translated.
cursive.
Someone
you
said it
know?
was Google translated, so the translation could have been a little bit off. But again, we don't know how. Again, it's through text.
Old people text in cursive. It's like they send like bibliographies. It's very formal. It might read as cold and like stern, but it's, there's just no telling. I just don't have any faith in OP's representation of what they said. I feel like they probably took a hop, skip, and a jump to, oh, you want to cut me off now? Fine. I'll cut you off too. Anyway, that's just an assumption. But you don't have to assume that you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this, because you can on your favorite podcast platform, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever it is. Just search OK Storytime, and you've got a whole plethora of episodes to listen to. Yeah, I don't know. If your grandparents are threatening to go to contact, that's crazy and absurd. And honestly, whatever.
I mean, isn't that...
But I just don't feel like that's what's happening.
I mean, yeah, based off of what we know, though, I stand by what I said earlier.
I feel like we're running very
We can
hot-blooded right
only-
now. I
only
feel like
go
our
off
blood
what
is
we know.
hot. We need to cool down the temp on the blood. OP continues, these people don't know I was diagnosed with literal BPD because of childhood emotional neglect last year. And in a world where this diagnosis is such a bad thing. So my grandparents do not know that I was diagnosed with that. And in a world where this diagnosis is such a bad thing, part of me wants to really rub this in their faces. Not to mention that my mom likely also has BPD, and I have been her favorite person, FP, ever since I can remember. I'm trying really hard not to feel crazy, as it seems that no one is really on my side, apart from my girlfriend and roughly 50 people on my other Reddit post. However, I am convinced that my parents just really succeeded well into manipulating my grandpa and his wife so that they feel sorry for them, and I can be the bad guy. Any reassurance from you all would really still be appreciated, though, Am I the a-hole now? I wanted to divorce my wife because she's stay at home.
That doesn't make sense.
I, male 30, married my wife, female 30, around 5 years ago. We've been dating since high school. I loved how smart, ambitious, and driven she was. We bonded over academics and nerd stuff. We had both landed good jobs in the same city right after college. By the way, this comes from user otherwise time 1404. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So 3 years into marriage, we had our baby. We had decided on sending our child to daycare after 6 months. But when the 6 months were up, my wife refused to go to work and send our child to daycare. Her argument was if I picked up more work, we could afford a single income household. And she'd be saving us money by being a stay-at-home parent. And that it was better for our child as well. I refused. Daycare is normal. If it was only me working, I would have to work way more hours, be exhausted, and not spend as much time with my child. I said if she was scared about daycare, we can work in different shifts to stay home with our baby, like a tag team. But she refuses, saying that does not work for her, and as a mom, she needs to be with her baby all the time. This caused a huge fight between us. She quit her job. She took care of baby during work hours and wanted me to take care of cooking dinner on weekdays and cooking, cleaning, and baby care on weekends because stay-at-home mom deserves breaks too. All right, pick a lane.
The thing is, I agree. Yes, stay-at-home moms absolutely deserve breaks, but you're expecting him to be full-time work and also do all of this childcare.
This dynamic really made me resent her. I tried communicating many times that the load of bills and insane work hours, along with not being able to enjoy time with my baby, all deeply upset me. When I was sure she's not going to listen to me, I filed for divorce. The court gave me 50-50 custody, no alimony or child support since I proved it was her own decision to stay at home, something I never agreed upon, and her career break was around a year. I moved back in with my parents and they have room for our baby too. Meanwhile, my ex-wife is struggling, living paycheck to paycheck. My baby stays with my mom when I work. My mom offered my ex the same, but she was so mad at me, she refused and enrolled our baby in a daycare. So she enrolled our baby in daycare. I refused to pay for it since she could just leave our kid with my mom. My ex-wife and her friends are now calling me an a-hole for divorcing her over being a stay-at-home mom and not providing any support. So, am I the a-hole? Asks OP. And we do have some comments. Let's go ahead and get into them. United Manor 20 says, not the a-hole. If she would have had a conversation that took your feelings into account, you would still be married and the baby would have been in daycare. Exactly.
You even could have found a way to work out stay-at-home mom.
The terms could have been a little more
equal.
Exactly. Now she has to work regardless, and the baby is still in daycare. This is one of those F around and find out scenarios. The courts decided custody and no child support owed by you. Her decisions put her where she is right now, and that has nothing to do with you. Enjoy being able to spend more time with your kiddo. Congratulations as well on only having to financially support one person. Now you can have breathing room and enjoy the time with your baby. MCA 2021 says not the a-hole, and I agree. It's like she made a unilateral decision that affected both of you. I found this part especially rich. She took care of the baby during my work hours and wanted me to take care of cooking dinner on weekdays and cooking, cleaning, and baby care on weekends because stay-at-home moms deserve breaks too. So when exactly is dad's break? She sounds like a very selfish, entitled person. Electronic Fox 6383 says everyone needs to be on the same page once children are involved. And you clearly were not. You're not the a-hole for not wanting to be the breadwinner, the cook, the cleaner, and the weekend nanny. Obviously not. Where was there supposed to be time in that for your well-deserved break? I'm sorry for your child that this ended in divorce, but you tried to communicate your desires many times. Good luck to you. John Redcorn Massage says they did communicate and did have a plan. They both agreed to. Daycare after 6 months. She tried to change the terms to one where she works way less and he works way more. The Dark Helmet 1985 says, bro, she unilaterally changed the whole nature of your relationship and put all the work on you without your consent. You are not the a-hole. I would have divorced her butt too, and I wouldn't have helped her in the least. Best part is you forced her to do the things she refused to, which led to your divorce in the first place. Love it.
I didn't like that comment.
No, that comment was all the wrong energy right there.
You won. It's like, no. That was a weird comment.
Still the mother of my child, all right? I don't want to like slam dunk her. Not a fan of that.
I don't like you, commenter.
What's the over-under that guy got divorced?
Yeah, he's like, oh, I just ate my wife. Truly hoping that OP went through all of the therapy and everything before he chose divorce.
Which it sounds like he did. It sounds like there was an attempt to do it, and then it's like, all right, this is not going to change. I can't do it. Can you imagine? You have a child. Every day is a late night shift. And then when you get home, you actually have to clean up after me. And then Friday rolls around, and you're like, here comes the weekend. Just kidding. I'm going to the med spa, and you're watching the kid for 2 days. And here comes Monday, time to clock back into the office. Literal insanity.
I do want to say there are a lot of parents out there who have to do this, don't have the luxury of taking any time off because they have to work like insanely impressive. These people deserve all of the love and support and stuff. But yeah, if this is not a thing that you have to do, if you have other options, don't make your partner take on the sole responsibility of the world.
Yeah. Not so lovely one says, and now she's turning down free childcare with the kid's grandma because she wants to prove a point. It certainly doesn't seem like she's making the best decisions for the baby here. Grace Land Rocks says her decision seems to be made from a place of self-interest and spite. I must admit, I'm concerned about the welfare of the child in her care. And there's an update. I think that's probably a stretch.
I mean, maybe some of her energy comes from she doesn't want to work, but I think hopefully it seems like a lot of her energy comes from she wants to be around her kid.
Of course. Like this whole thing was because she was like, I just want to be a mom. I think the fact that she's like clearly like contentious with her ex-husband has nothing to do with her ability to be a mother to her child.
Until proven otherwise, I hope that she is, putting motherhood.
Until we get the evidence, that's way too much of a stretch for me. Update. Comment section truly shows how the community is, with most of the you are the a-hole comments calling me broke and asking me to man up. Others saying mom deserves to be with her baby and I'm an a-hole for taking that away from them.
I mean, the mom is 50-50.
It's right. It's split custody.
Yeah, I'm very against the idea that a man can't be a good parent.
You heard it here first, folks. Sophia loves dudes.
Love all those dads.
My marriage was based on equality. I never wanted to be the sole breadwinner. And to everyone telling me mom staying home is best and the thing to do if you can afford it, I was clearly saying we can't. Daycare expense would have been 30% of my wife's salary and 15% of our joint income. I was not even demanding daycare. I offered my mom's help part-time with different shifts, etc. Anything that would enable me to have quality time with my child as well, which I think is something we're getting here. Is she was also being like, and yeah, you'll have no time to spend with the kid during the week until you're looking after him all weekend, which is not right.
And also, I mean, I think people brought up a good point of when you have that much on your plate, it is very hard to be there for your child in like a play sense.
She refused this solution, turning me into an ATM and domestic help instead. To everyone saying I should have given her more time, each phase of childhood only stays for a little while. I missed over a year of my child's life, big moments, smiles, and phases due to this arrangement. So not only this guy did this for a year, it sounds like.
Yeah, I know they said 6 months where she was not working and taking care of the kid.
Well, that was like maternity leave, right? I assume. My wife did not care or sympathize. It was simply my duty to provide for her and her right to stay at home with our child. Furthermore, I was responsible for fending for myself when it came to food, washing dishes, and cooking dinner and cleanup every day. And on my only day off, the only day I could possibly spend with my child, I had to clean the house, cook all the meals, meal prep for the week, do laundry, mow the lawn, etc. I only got time with baby for about 6 hours, a maximum of 12 hours every week. I was working over 80 hours a week at the office and another 28 hours doing housework.
I didn't realize that like she brought up this arrangement and he'd already been like doing just that. I thought originally in that 6-month period, she was kind of helping out cooking, taking care of the baby. It was a little bit more equal. And then she said, let's do this super crazy thing. But it seems like the 6 months was what she wanted to continue doing. That's just what that sounds like.
When I realized she would not listen to me at all, and I did not want to miss years of my child's life, I filed for divorce.
So it does seem very last resort.
So he did. He tried. He's like, all right, she'll stop. She'll stop. She'll change. Never changed. He's like, I can't do it anymore. But you know what you can do? Always. Is you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this one on Spotify and iHeartRadio and Apple Podcasts and wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search OK Storytime and you'll have access to over 2,000 episodes. We do have a little bit more story. I think we've kind of discussed it. I think we're on the same page over here. So why don't we just finish it off? To everyone saying I'm taking advantage of my mother, I do not know how your family is, but my parents love my child. I am my parents' only child and my kid their only grandkid. To those who say I'm hurting my child, bringing in unknowns, my child is having a great time being pampered by my mom and loves the time spent with me. To people who are asking what I won, time with my child, memories with my child, a relationship with my child, rather than just being an ATM. And to people who say I never loved my wife, I did, until I realized she did not love or care about me, that she only cared about what she needed and wanted and treated me like an ATM and a slave. It was heartbreaking to realize, but it was not a relationship I wanted to continue with. She took away my time with my child, and that is not something I can forgive easily. I would rather be a present dad with my child. And we have some comments. I think that is fair that that's something a lot of people would just overlook about a father in any context of being a parent is that he's like, yeah, I actually would like to be there for my kid.
Well, yeah, I think there's this standing stereotype that dads work and they don't really want to parent and they're kind of the babysitter. It's like, no, your father. That's your child. If you're a parent, you should know and want to take care of your child or know how to, which he does.
Kim reads Reddit, says, not the a-hole. I have no idea how people think you're the a-hole, even before I read your update at the bottom. And to be transparent, I am a mom. My husband is a wonderful, gracious man, and he allowed me to take 6 months off of work after my son was 1.5 years old because of a medical condition that occurred because of the pregnancy, even though money would be tight. And he let me keep sending our kiddo to daycare. He was toddling at this point. No way I could keep up with him all day, but I still contributed to the household chores and tried to make his life easier. And it was a joint decision. I didn't go behind his back, essentially, and take the time off regardless of what he said. Your ex-wife deliberately decided that she didn't want to work and that you could take on all the extra stress. And she wanted you to maid on the weekends and evenings? Oh, no, no, no. People calling you the a-hole need to reverse this. If the OP was a woman and the ex demanding to stay at home was a man, none of y'all would be okay with this situation. Your ex had a responsibility to tell you if her plan was to be stay at home. If it wasn't, and that changed, then the stay-at-home role needed to be a joint decision. While we were dating, probably within the first month, my husband told me his dream job would be a house husband. He wasn't super into kids. I hate housework, and it turns out he's pretty good at that stuff. So if I ever get to the point where we can make it on my salary, he will definitely become stay-at-home dad. But it is a joint decision. You did nothing wrong. You gave her options. You had sound reasoning for not wanting to work extra hours. Many mothers would be overjoyed to have the father of their child be so interested in their kid. You gave her opportunities to change, and it's on her that she didn't. I'm sorry it didn't work out, but hopefully someone better will head your way. And that is the end of that story.
There you go.
Beautiful little bow we put on that one. It was a great comment.
Very nice. 'Cause there were some good comments.
But that is the end of that story, but not the end of this episode. So stay tuned for the next one. Don't go anywhere.
I resent my wife for being a stay-at-home mom now that I got promoted.
Ooh, that sounds a little messy.
My wife Sarah and I have been married for 7 years, and we have been together for a total of 10. I was raised in a very traditional and religious household and was brought up believing that men are the breadwinners and women should stay at home with the kids. Sarah was raised in an equally religious household and had similar views as I did. By the way, this comes from Throwaway Mistake, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, after college, I got a job doing financial work for a large company and moved to a different city. I didn't know anyone in the area and decided that attending one of the local churches would help me meet new people. Sarah was one of the church members, and I fell head over heels for her. She's one of the most beautiful women I have ever laid eyes on, and she's also extremely kind and caring. After a year of dating, I proposed to her, and we were married after a 2-year engagement. After the wedding, Sarah finished her degree and started talking about having children. I asked her to wait a few years until I started earning enough money, and she agreed. Kids went on the back burner for a while, and Sarah dedicated herself to creating a home for us while I went to work. A few years passed, and I finally got the promotion at work. Sarah was ecstatic, and we both agreed that we could have the baby. Sarah and I tried for only 2 months before she became pregnant.
Dang.
She was thrilled, but my happiness was mixed with a bit of apprehension and nervousness. Yeah, that's pretty run-of-the-mill.
Pretty standard.
Standard feelings when having your first child. Opie's like, you'll be shocked by this. I didn't know if I could handle taking care of another human, and it was scary. I decided to suck it up and put on the brave face for Sarah's sake. Our son was born, and Sarah devoted herself to caring for him. Because I had been promoted, I started spending less and less time at home. The job was demanding, and I was working 70-plus hour weeks. I had to wake up earlier and earlier while Sarah stayed in bed and slept. When I came home, Sarah always looked relaxed and happy, playing with the baby. I know that I was being irrationally jealous, but I started to resent Sarah. Taking care of the baby seemed so much easier than my job, and I hated how all the financial responsibility fell back on me. It has been 2 years since I started feeling this resentment, and I started going to a therapist, but it's not helping. I hate coming home every day and trying to speak with Sarah. She's never had a job and does not understand how stressed I am from working. It's like I'm speaking to a child whenever I try to discuss anything like finances or any topic more in depth than what is taught in high school. I don't want to be married to someone who doesn't feel like my equal. I know this isn't Sarah's fault, but I feel like I'm trapped and I just want out. Comments. Kathleen says, keep up the counseling and add couples counseling. You two have communication and expectation issues. You originally agreed to her never working. You are changing the game now. Why didn't she work before you two decided to have a child? You write like you agreed on that. You should probably get a vasectomy so you don't have any more children, just in case. Whoa, let's have a conversation.
Again, not something to do in a vacuum.
Taking care of a house and child is not easy. You can pay $20 per hour for a maid, more for the cook, and I don't know how much for a nanny while your wife works. So you can come home to an irritable spouse, a cranky baby, and someone who doesn't want to hear about your day. For some folks, you are living the dream. You get to come home to a clean and happy house. Your child is being raised by a primary parent. You don't have to worry about your wife cheating on you or doing substances or your child or being a financial drain. She isn't dumping her daily woes on you. Instead, she is taking care of things, getting the furnace fixed, waiting for the plumber, painting the spare room, decorating for the holidays, making good food, etc. And you resent that. You may need a different counselor, but keep trying. Here are some other things that can help. Hit the gym, get those endorphins flowing, learn something new, take a parenting class or two. Teach your child to ride a tricycle or fly a kite. Talk to your wife is the main suggestion. All of those could work, but I think OP is valid in feeling like he wants to have more time with his kid. He just needs to bring it up because, yes, he is changing, what they agreed upon.
Well, it's like, imagine like Sisyphus agrees to the boulder and then like, after a year, he's like, do I have to really keep pushing the boulder for the rest of my life?
Which is the point. You did change it, but also you're allowed to change your mind. You just have to communicate that and then agree upon a new boundary.
Let's have conversations and let's be vulnerable.
OP says, I'll try to suggest the couples counseling, and you're right. I did agree to all of that in our relationship. That's why I feel like a huge hypocrite, because I am being hypocritical now. I know enough to realize that, but I don't know what I could do to fix it. We do have a maid that comes by once a week, and honestly, I would trade the clean house for a wife that can hold a conversation with me about anything other than reality TV or what happened in church.
Wait, didn't she go to school? Because he said something about going back to finish her degree or something.
I feel like she did go to college. I will say, I think the problem kind of is deeper than just, I want to have more time with the kid. I don't want to work full time and she gets to take care of the kid. I don't think he's able to connect to her. And that is an issue. And sometimes it is not a fixable issue because it's just you guys are fundamentally different people and care about different things. But Don't jump to that. Don't jump to, it's not fixable. Let's see if it is before.
You liked your wife for the stuff that she is right now, right? I mean, I didn't say that with the smartest words.
I wonder, and again, this might not be true, I wonder if he liked her because she fit into his idea of what a wife should be because of his upbringing. That might not be true. And yes, OP continues, I resent it. I don't know why I do, but I do. I don't want to feel this way. Deleted says, I have a friend who I went to school with, both to business school and after. Lived as roommates together post-college, but he moved on. Makes 3 times the amount I do, which is impressive for anyone his age and education. And he has no time with his wife or kids except 1 day a week. He has no friends anymore. I, on the other hand, work hard at my job for my 8 to 9 hours a day, come home, and it's gone. I'm not worried about work ever, and it's great. I like my job. I love my home life. And there is an update 2 months later. Again, my advice is talk to your wife.
I work a full-time job and I make less money than that guy, but my life is so much cooler than his.
Yeah, I feel like he was just like, I work less than that guy who works more than me, and it's great. Was that relevant to this?
Yeah, I just had to point that out really quick, but that's okay.
Update 2 months later. I made this post a few weeks ago about the resentment I started to feel towards my wife after I had been promoted at work. I just want to say thank you all for the advice, and I have a very happy update for you all. I took a week to think about the post and my own feelings. I talked it out in therapy, and I came to the conclusion that I could not keep working 70 hours a week. Yay! You figured it out. It was destroying my relationship with my wife and son, and it was also destroying my happiness. I spoke to my boss, and he was very understanding and told me that there was enough in the budget to hire an assistant for me.
Nice.
My assistant started 2 weeks ago, and my workload has been dramatically reduced.
So they could have just done that the whole time?
Boss is like, well, why didn't you say so? I have been able to work a normal 40-hour week, and I am now finally coming home before 6 p.m. each weekday. I spoke with my best friend about my wife, and he knocked some sense into me. He told me how jealous he and the rest of our friends were over my wife, and how lucky I was to be with a woman who is a supermodel, attractive, yet driven and kind and compassionate like my wife. Later that night, I drank a bottle of scotch and got sloppy wasted.
Oh no.
My wife found me puking in the bathroom, and in my wasted haze, I confessed to her everything I was holding back. That's not how we do that.
You know what? In a way, it's kind of cute to me because he's probably acting like a drunk baby.
I told her about how I felt left out because I wasn't around for our son, how I didn't feel connected to her like I wanted to be, the whole 9 yards. She held me and let me cry it out, and she told me that she loved me. It's exactly what we just did. And you know what we always say? You can listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime.
Over 2,000 episodes. What a treat.
There is a wee bit left to this story. Final thoughts?
Well, I think this guy, like he said at the beginning, he's kind of a victim of his own traditional upbringing. He was kind of trapped, feeling like he couldn't have said all this stuff. But see what happened when you did? She said, I love you, baby.
Very cute, but there's a little bit left. The wife and I are headed to couples counseling, but we also signed up for cooking classes to build a common hobby. We love that because I was still worried about that because it seems like they didn't have too much in common, at least at this stage in their life. And it seems like they're like, let's figure that out. She says that she will stay by me as long as I stay by her, no matter what happens. I love her and she loves me, and I think we're going to be okay. One last detail that I can't think to put anywhere else. All 3 of us are taking a month-long vacation after Christmas in order to have family bonding time. Wife and I both agree that we need this vacation. Lordica says, good for you. Now keep it up. Don't do the stoic suffer in silence type. Yeah, you did this 2 years, dude. 2 years when you could have solved it with one conversation. Trust your wife to listen and to care about your problems. A stay-at-home mom can still be educated and sophisticated. Encourage her to grow intellectually with you. OP says, thanks. My problem was that I let my prejudices cloud my view of my wife. She studied hospitality management, and I wasn't able to view her skills with the same respect as I gave to math and finance. I'm learning different techniques to rewire my brain into having a less conservative view. I made a list of all the skills that Sarah has and how they blow mine out of the water. Her skills aren't any less worthwhile than mine. They are simply different. CBT is helping.
Cognitive behavioral therapy, for those who don't know what that acronym is. That's freaking awesome. One of the best endings I think I've ever had the pleasure of experiencing.
I love
it when there's a happy ending. Partners talk and then they figure out that, oh, wow, we could fix this.
If you're a guy and you're like, I can't talk about my feelings because I'm a guy, learn from this guy. He was ready to literally blow up his whole life instead of just talking.
Yeah. And then he talked and everything was better.
And he said, I'm sad, baby. I'm whiskey scotch, baby.
But folks, that's the end of that story.
I uncovered my wife's previous conversations. She's admitting she isn't attracted to me?
Dum dum. This is Law and Order. Attractive.
A bit of background. Me and my wife, we are not married. I just don't like to call her my partner or girlfriend, are both in our late 30s. We've been together for 10 years and have a 2-year-old, and my partner is currently pregnant with another boy. So they're practically married.
Yeah.
By the way, this comes from Negotiation OK 52. And if you want to spin your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So for the most part, our relationship has been great. We've had our ups and we've had our downs, just like most couples, but we are mostly good friends and great partners in life. However, there has always been a thing in our relationship that in the last couple of months have been bothering me. Our spicy sleep life.
Uh-oh.
Dun, dun. In the first years, everything was fine. I wouldn't say we were a huge spicy related couple, but we did it a few times a week and it was fine. Okay, year 3 in our relationship, we were living together for a while and we started to get pregnant. Unfortunately, we weren't having much success. So we went to the doctors. The next years, our spicy sleep life changed. It almost became something mechanical. We had to do it at specific times, in a specific way, test, and more tests, month after month of disappointment. And to be honest, it was no longer fun. We then did 2 cycles of IVF in vitro, which were not successful. At this time, I would say we had spicy sleep once or twice a month. Luckily, we eventually got pregnant naturally, and we were both over the moon. But there was a lot of stress, and we had lost a girl before. So during this time, I didn't push too much on our spicy sleep life, and I believe we only had spicy sleep a couple of times. When our baby was born, well, most of you know how newborns are. So in between work, stress, sleepless nights, and, well, opportunity, we didn't have any spicy sleep for the first year of the kid. After that, we started having spicy sleep again, but I always felt that it was mostly a duty for my wife. I always had to slowly seduce her for 1 to 2 weeks until she eventually was in the mood.
Dang, 2 weeks.
Yikes, dude.
It's a long time to begin the seduction process.
Again, luckily, we got pregnant a few months ago. And again, our spicy sleep life stopped. A couple of times I tried to initiate. My wife was always not in the mood or tired or too much pregnant. As I want to not be the a-hole, kind of backed off, stopped trying. Everything was fine. I kind of have accepted for the next month, spicy sleep was off. But last month, something happened that has made me rethink everything. My son still wakes up a lot during the night, and most nights. My wife goes to sleep with him, almost always on the clock at 5 a.m. The kid wakes up for good and wants to go play and watch some cartoons. I usually go with him while my wife sleeps a couple of hours. Before Christmas, I gave my wife a new phone, and his old one because the phone the kid watched for cartoons. I know we shouldn't. And one early morning, I grabbed the phone, opened Google, and on the main page, there appears recent visited sites, and one site was on corn. I know it wasn't me.
Shock.
Or my kid. I knew it was my wife, probably on her new phone, because it still has her Google account linked on the old phone, so it syncs. To be honest, I just laughed a bit, deleted the site from recent history, and business goes as usual. I didn't think too much of it. Maybe some friend of her had some specific video, or better, maybe she got horny and didn't want to bother me. A couple of days later, same thing happened. And this time, well, curiosity took the best of me. So I checked her browser history. Found out she was basically watching corn 2 or 3 times a week after I went to bed early. I was mad, but a bit disappointed. But still, I tried to put myself in her shoes. Maybe she isn't feeling spicy, or doesn't have the energy for spicy sleep and relieves herself with corn. I didn't say anything, but for the next thing that was always on my mind. I have gained some weight. Maybe she wasn't attracted to me anymore, and I did a thing that I'm very ashamed of because her account was still linked to that phone. Her social networks were as well, so I went into a rabbit hole. My worst fear was that she was having an affair, but I think she isn't, as there is no recent chats or messages from any recent guy. Uh-oh.
This is not going in a great direction.
Yeah. So I feel like sort of a conversation at this point. Out of curiosity, searched my name. As expected, a lot of results appeared, but one message kind of stood out to me. It was basically, OP, he's kind of ugly, but I like him.
Oof.
I opened it, and it was a chat with a girlfriend from 10 years ago. We met each other, and we're still friends.
Like, super tough to hear.
You still
I don't
won,
think
though.
I don't think it's like this was 10 years ago, probably when she first started seeing you. I don't think that's like the smoking pew pew, you know?
This happened 10 years ago. I read a few more messages, and it was like the 1-2 bag. She was basically telling her friend that I was ugly and that I didn't have as good of a body as the other guy, but I was a nice guy. I searched who the other guy was, and I discovered it was a guy she was with for a few months before me, and that before him. She was with her official ex when we started our relationship. She told me that she was single for 2 years. Now I discovered that in the 12 months before me, she was with at least 2 guys. I checked the chats with Yuri and her ex and found out they were still talking for the first 2 or 3 years of our relationship. I checked the chats with my girlfriend and her ex, found out they were still talking for the first 2 or 3 years of our relationship.
Ooh, not good.
To be honest, conversations were not that interesting, but maybe it's in my head, but kind of a hint of flirting here and there. Another thing that bothers me is that reading a bit of the chat with that girlfriend, she looks more spicy related than she is in our 10 years. She talks all the marathons she does and the positions she tries but something she told me was off limits. Maybe it's girl talk. I don't know. With all this, my self-esteem plummeted. I feel ugly, unattractive, betrayed, and to be honest, used. To be honest, these last few weeks, I've tried to be alone as much as possible. I've been staying late at work. I've woke up more in the middle of the night and moved to the sofa. I really don't know what I'm going to do. The only good part of this is that I've kind of felt an urge to get back in shape. Been hitting the gym more often. Thanks a lot for taking the time to read. What do you do in this situation?
Dude,
We got an update.
talk to your partner. Yes, you found out that they had probably lied to you about, the fact that they had been in a relationship more recently.
Yeah.
You found out that their spicy kind of ality has changed over the course of 10 years, which is pretty normal. And also she had 2 children. Obviously there are a lot of secrets that she's, maybe keeping from you. And you have a right to be hurt, but why aren't we talking?
Yeah.
You're married. Well, you're not married to her, but you've been in a relationship with her for 10 years and you have kids. Talk to her.
Okay, update. The day I did the post, the day after, was probably extra down. And my partner noticed it. Kept asking me what was wrong. At night, after our boy went to sleep, she asked again. And I could no longer hold it in. I told her what I did and what I found. It wasn't pretty. She started crying and basically yelling at me about how I'm going through her phone, which I understand. She never talked about what I found, just about how mad and disappointed she was with me. Since she's pregnant and she was getting stressed and nervous, I didn't push too much. She went to bed afterwards and I stayed in the couch. The next 24 hours, she didn't talk much to me. The next day, and again at night, I pushed the subject again. I told her that we should talk. She agreed. She told me, I assuming that her mind would be comforting, but it was far from it. Long story short, she basically told me that when she broke up with her longtime ex-boyfriend of about 3 years before we met, which I kind of knew, she felt free and decided to explore the world. Therefore, she had several relationships and short romances with other guys. But she knew how society saw that and decided not to tell me about it. She then told me that after she broke up with the last guy I read the messages about, she decided she was done with playing around and decided to settle down. I asked her if I was that, just the guy she was settling with. She answered that I was much better than those guys because I had my life on track. I had goals. I was financially secure. Oh,
I don't think that's like a bad thing. I think those are all like she's saying like she was with people who were like really fun maybe, but not at all serious and weren't ready for like a committed relationship. And she wanted someone who was ready for a committed relationship. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
I just didn't read the part, you were handsome, you're so good looking. You're like,
yeah, tough for OP.
That's not what I saw. That's why I was like,
Yeah,
oh.
yeah.
Because I got money, not because I look good.
Yeah. That sucks to hear.
I pushed a little farther and asked her if I was not stable, she had ever had anything to do with me. She answered she probably wouldn't.
But I don't know. That feels, again, I totally understand if I totally understand if OP is like, again, like I understand why OP is upset about this and I think he has a right to, but I think that a lot of people go for people who are like financially stable. Like I probably would not go for a person who had like tons of debt and was like
hot,
not going. Yeah, I probably wouldn't go for a person who was just hot, but
no,
like
a
mess.
Hot.
I don't think I would go for a person who was a mess but hot.
Like Doctor Who hot.
Which doctor?
The one you're thinking about. She again started to cry and confessed that although she loves me, she was never physically attracted to me like she was with the other men.
That's
and after
rough.
all the problems we had trying to have children, she now saw that spicy sleep is more like a task than a pleasure.
Okay, well, yeah. So then now we're at the point where she doesn't actually she's not like, it doesn't seem like she's romantically attracted to you. I think that her love is like, you know, more of a roommate, friendship, co-parent situation. And at that point, it's like, why are we together?
At this point, I was passing away inside, but I kept a straight face. She asked me to go sleep with her, but I told her I needed some time to process, and I stayed on the sofa again. I didn't sleep at all during the night. I think I've accepted that I'm the person I fell in love with is just an illusion. Oh,
yeah.
The next morning, I went to work, but was able to make an appointment with my family lawyer. I was honest with him and told him that I still was unsure what to do, but I needed to know financially what were my options and responsibilities. He told me by default, our country laws assign 50-50 co-parenting unless there was some violence or parent agreement otherwise, and that if both parents are working, there is no payments to be done to each other. For the newborn, the court would probably mandate that the baby must stay with the mother in the first months, but the father must have visiting time. And after the first 6 months, 50-50 co-parenting. Regardless of the finances, since we both kept most of our bank accounts and assets separated, we wouldn't need to split. We would only need to split the house and the cars if the one didn't get an agreement on one buying the other part. Here, I would lose since most were paid by me, but we would need to split 50-50. I stayed working late that day, slept on the sofa again, and the next day before leaving for work, I told my partner that I needed some time. I would be staying a couple of days at a hotel. During this time, my partner kept calling and sending me messages, but I just told her we would talk in a few days. To be honest, I just need some time alone to get wasted and sleep. When I got back home a few days later, we talked again. I told her that I knew what I did was wrong and that I have no problem with her having a bit of a fun phase, but that I was really hurt about she not getting attracted to me, just being a stable guy. She just used me for my big check, my big paychecks.
I don't even know if it's like necessarily OP's got like a bunch of money. I think it's just she had this idea probably of a person who like wanted to have his life together or had his life together, which doesn't necessarily mean that he has a bunch of money. It just means that probably has good credit score, is, you know, ready to commit to someone, wants to have kids. Like she's placed all of this stuff on him. But that does not mean that it's not going to be like totally disrespectful for him to find out that she never like was attracted to him. Like, you don't get to just like take whatever you want from a partner
Yeah.
and be like deceptive. Like, yeah, it's not okay.
I also told her that I still hadn't decided what to do, but for the time being, I couldn't see her as my loving partner anymore. But if she was okay with it, we could start counseling and see where things go in the future. So this is our current situation. We had been in 2 sessions now, and to be honest, they haven't helped much. But we will continue. And by the way, you can continue to listen to crazy stories just like this one. Go to your favorite podcast platform, search up OK Storytime on Apple, iHeartRadio, or Spotify, and you'll have stories waiting. Do you think they just should leave? Abandon ship?
I honestly, well, Jem says, how about counseling? I think in general, counseling is good if you're parents, so you can be co-parents and stuff. However, I don't think that you can fix this because she's never loved him.
Ooh.
She's never been attracted to him. I don't think that's something that you can generate if it never existed. It's not like it like left because of the kids coming or, changes in financial like that. It's not something that they hit hard times and then it went away and they could bring it back. It never existed.
Last little bit here. My partner have tried to be more affectionate and tried a few times to have spicy sleep, but I declined and told her I was not ready for it.
Yeah.
I've also started to spend more time away from home, spending more time in the gym, having fun with my boy, going to dinner with friends and colleagues. I still love my partner, but I can't look at her the same. Our newborn is June for early April. I know this will be a big test for our relationship, but to be completely honest, at the moment, I'm kind of accepting we're done. Do you guys have any advice on how to move forward? Thanks for everyone and your kind words.
Tattoo Mania says, I disagree. She doesn't have to be attracted to him to love him. I agree with that. And I think she did say she loves him. However, OP wants something else. He wants physical attraction, and that's okay. That's what she kind of insinuated that she, had for him. And he's been kind of deceived and lied to for 10 years. And it's totally okay for him to want to feel wanted in that way. And if she's lied about that and then it comes out that she's never actually felt that way, then it's okay for him to leave. Because I think that people have different relationships, of course. And like some people who are like aromantic or asexual still have a lot of love for their partner, but there is no physical side to it. But that's not what this was. They went into an agreement, into a relationship where he thought that she loved him, was physically attracted to him, romantically into him, and that was not the case.